For the Queens Golden Gales, their future could very well be a mirror image of the past. Rich Newborough's Golden Hawks had one Final Four appearance in 13 years. Dan McNally's Griffins arrive at the national semifinals for the first time in 8 years. And for both teams, the road to the Skydome went through perennial champion Western. Laurier with a thrilling 13-12 win a year ago. Guelph grabbed the Yates Cup with a powerful 45-10 thrashing of those same Mustangs. Laurier's Reinhard Keller was an impact defensive player in 1991. Guelph's Mike O'Shea is that player in 92. Queens faced a red-hot Bill Kubas a year ago, and there is no one hotter right now than Wally Gabler. Queens running back Brad Elberg was hobbled a year ago. This year, it's Guelph who was in without running back Kyle Walters. The Gales face star running back Andy Cicchini in 91, and it will be backup Rob Popke in 92. The Gales carry the heavy burden of a second-half collapse a year ago when Cicchini ran roughshod in a 19-point comeback win. Today, the Gales hope to overcome dejection and continue towards their goal, the Vanier Cup. Today, it's Queens and Guelph. The Churchill Bowl is next. TSN proudly presents Canadian University football. Today, it's the Churchill Bowl. Live from the Skydome, it's the Queens Golden Gales against the Guelph Griffins. Brought to you by Geo. Get to know a Geo at a Chevy Geo dealer near you. And by Pepsi. Gotta have it. And come on inside. Hello again, everybody. I'm Paul Romanek, live from the Skydome as we get set for the 1992 Churchill Bowl. For the Queens Golden Gales, they lost only one game this season, but they're trying to atone for their loss last year in the Churchill Bowl when they blew a 22-3 halftime lead against Laurier and ended up losing the game. To call all the action, let's go to Gordon Miller and Jamie Bone.
All right, thanks very much, Paul. Key injuries to talk about. The most significant, Kyle Walters, the running back for Guelph, who will not play today, but Brad Elberg, the big man for Queens, will. Who has the advantage this afternoon, Jamie?
I think Queens will have the advantage if they can run the football effectively and keep Guelph off the scoreboard. If they have to play catch-up football, they don't want to get in that situation where Tim Pendergast has to win the game for them.
Neither of these teams finished first in its conference, but the teams are now one win away from going to the Vanier Cup. Quickly, who do you think it'll be?
I think it's going to be Queens today because of Elberg.
All right, we're set for the kickoff now. It is the Churchill Bowl, the second half of doubleheader Saturday here on TSN. Our congratulations to the St. Mary's University Huskies, victors today over the Calgary Dinosaurs. So we know St. Mary's will be here next week. Now comes the second half of the equation. Jamie Galloway will kick it off for Queens in its gold uniforms, the champions of the Ontario-Quebec Conference. Well, the champions of Ontario in white have Heron Tate and Shane Doherty back deep. And here is Doherty from the 20. Finding room across the 35. He gets outside and up ahead to the 40-yard line before he is finally brought down by Max Turner. And that is where the Guelph offense will go to work.
And Wally Gabler is the quarterback for Guelph. Two different seasons for him. You can look at his regular season numbers. Not all that great, but I'll tell you what, Gordon, in the playoffs, this guy's been unstoppable. 5 touchdown passes a week ago, 2 against the University of Toronto. He's having a great year so far.
In the postseason, 6 touchdown passes. Just 1 of his passes has been intercepted. He was as close to perfect as a quarterback could be last week. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. And they'll go to the air right away as Gabler looks over the middle. And he has his man Shane Doherty for a Guelph first down at the 52-yard line. And here's how Guelph lines up.
Wally Gabler Jr. at quarterback. Popke is the youngster out of Guelph who's taking Walter's spot. Rosine, he'll line up mostly as a tight end. Reed, Irwin, Doherty, Drennan, a good group of receivers.
Dave Irwin has been the favorite target this season, number 70.
And not a huge offensive line, but they do a pretty good job of protecting Wally Gabler Jr.
The gain was 12. It's a first down from Guelph's 52-yard line, just underway in the 1992 Churchill Bowl game here at C.I.A.U. And now they'll keep it on the ground. Here is Popke. Popke's second effort gets him across midfield and into Queens territory at the 51.
Queens has a very experienced defense. Lewin, Dell, Zerny, and Johnson. Dell is the O-QIFC nominee for Lineman of the Year. Good set of linebackers, Boone, Payne, and Greg Brick. Not a bad secondary either. McCormick, Turnick, Dagnoni led the O-QIFC in interceptions with 7. Rounding out with Morrison and Peterson.
Gain was 6. It's 2nd and 4. Popke across the 50 and down to about the 46-yard line for what should be another Griffins first down. Mike Boone made the stop.
Well, Guelph like to give the ball deep in the backfield so that the back has a chance to kind of read where the seams are. Two different philosophies of running the football. Guelph's offensive line, they call it a search and engage. They just try to engage the defensive man and take him wherever he wants to go, and they let the back read and then make his cuts accordingly.
First and 10 from the Queens 46-yard line. Gabler to throw in traffic, and the pass is broken up. He was looking for Shane Doherty, but Max Turner of Queens, number 17, was closest to the ball.
And you know, this might be the strength of that Queens defense. Everybody thought at the beginning of the year they couldn't cover the pass all that well, but they did a great job last week against Jim Murphy and that Bishop's Gators team. And so they faced some pretty good passers throughout the season, and it looks like they're doing a pretty good job here so far.
Well, the first time this afternoon, it's a 2nd and long situation for Guelph, and the Griffins capitalized on numerous occasions last week against Western in this situation. 2nd and 10 from the 46. Gabler up the sideline, and the pass is broken up. Looking over there for Dave Irwin, but a solid defensive play is made there by Mark Morrison.
It's a nice job by Mark Morrison. He's looking at the 3-step drop of Wally Gabler Jr., and then he just kind of comes up and tries to attack the football. Nice job. We saw him do a really good job last week against those Bishop Gators receivers.
And Wally Gabler Jr. is also the Guelph punter, a situation we've seen on a number of occasions across the nation, and it can often lead to a successful fake. On 3rd and 10. Gabler sends a low spiraling kick towards the sidelines, and it'll bounce out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. Let's go downstairs to TSN's Rod Smith.
Well, guys, you talked about one of the keys here. Queens offense always really thrives on the run, and the way to shut that offense down, of course, stop the run. That's especially true this year with Brad Elberg, their all-star running back. And Guelph coach Dan McNally says they don't consider it a one-dimensional offense, though. They can't dwell on Elberg too much, or some other problems could develop. So they'll key on him, but not to the point you might expect.
Thank you, Rod. It is 1st and 10 from the 25, and right away Pendergast comes out throwing, almost intercepted, as the pass went dangerously over the middle, and Pendergast's first throw of the day almost picked off by Brian Robinson.
You know, Gord, Tim Pendergast coming into this game really has struggled throughout this season. He had a good season last year. He's a 5th-year quarterback, very experienced. But he feels that he has to play well today because they cannot just rely on one person, Brad Elberg, to win this football game for them.
2nd and 10 from the 25. Under pressure, the screen pass now. They get it up there to Paul Kozan. And Kozan gets up to the 30, but we're well short of the first down.
And you can see the kind of defense that Guelph has. I mean, they are very, very athletic. You take a look at their linebackers, Mike O'Shea and Steve McKee. Screen looks like it's set up pretty well, but just watch from the right of your screen how people start to flow inside. Of course, it's the defensive tackle, Sean Haggerty. Anytime you get a defensive tackle making the tackle on the screen downfield, you know your defensive line is pretty athletic.
And Jamie Galloway is back to punt for Queens. So the Guelph defense, among the best in the nation, forces Queens 2 and out. Galloway's low driving kick bounces at midfield and goes out of bounds at the 53, where Guelph will begin its 2nd possession with no score here at the Sky-Dome.
And, you know, Gord, you talk about the strategies of these two teams coming into this game. Queens feel that they cannot get behind Guelph because they want to be able to run the football with Brad Elberg. That's their style of play. They run the ball 70% of the time, even though we've seen them at the start of this game come out throwing the ball. They don't want to get in that situation where it's up to Tim Pendergast to throw the football.
Guelph's second possession of the football game begins at the Griffins' 53-yard line. 10:20 to play in the first quarter. Here is Popke on first down, bounces outside across midfield, plenty of yards down to the Queens' 41-yard line.
You know, this is a great job by the Guelph offense because, you know what, there is no set point of attack here. They're trying to get the ball off to the left, and then they give it deep enough so that Popke can read where the blocks are. I mean, that's great vision. They say all good running backs have to have great vision. Well, Rob Popke is showing us that he has that great vision, being able to bounce it back against the flow and get outside.
Safety man Joel Dagnoni had to come up and make the stop, but not before it was a Guelph first down. Now at the Queens' 41-yard line. Popke is the lone back in the backfield. He has it once again. This time he doesn't get very far as the linebacker Peter Payne came up to make the stop.
Well, Peter Payne, one of those experienced linebackers, when he sees trap, because Queens like to run this a lot, he sees a left guard, Jim Stewart, pull, and then he comes underneath into that gap and makes a tackle in the backfield.
Jamie LEWIN, defensive end number 29, an unusual number for a defensive end. He helped force Popke back inside. Gain was maybe half a yard. Make it 2nd and 9 from the Queens' 40-yard line. Gabler under pressure throws it up over the middle and almost caught as Kevin Reed laid out for it but couldn't haul it in.
You know, this shows you the kind of confidence that Wally Gabler Jr. has because of his week last week. I mean, off of his back foot throwing the ball. I mean, if that's down 6 inches, that's a reception. That's just a great effort by Wally Gabler Jr. Now, the other thing you got to watch, though, you can have confidence, but you have to make also good decisions. So he's going to have to be a little bit aware of that Queens defensive secondary as well. And
with the ball at the 40-yard line, Dan McNally opts not to try the field goal from 47. Instead, this is Gabler in punt formation from midfield. Angling it towards the sidelines. And it is taken there by Steve Jovanic from Queens, but it'll be poor field position for the Golden Gales to start just outside their own 10.
Well, Pendergast, the veteran fifth-year quarterback. Beresford, of course, and Elberg, the O-QIFC nominee for the Heck Crichton Trophy. McCullough, Weir, Jovetic, and Kidd. Kidd is their best receiver, but this is a running football team, and the reason is these guys right here, the offensive line. Pretty good group, pretty big group at the tackle positions, you can see. Robbins at 285.
1st and 10 from the 12 for the Queens Golden Gales. 8:30 to play in the first quarter. They give to Brad Elberg. Elberg is stacked up just outside the 15-yard line. And in to help make the stop was Sean Haggerty.
Now, one of the things you might see Queens do today because of what they saw Western do a week ago is they're going to try and run isolation on the linebacker inside. Aaron Tate, the defensive back, and Steve Jovetic, wide receiver for Queens, mixing it up early. That's what you need from those wide receivers when you have such a running game that Queens do, is you have to have those guys downfield getting physical.
Gain was 4 at 2nd and 6. Pendergast deep in the pocket, looks out to the flat, has his man there, Brian Alford. And Alford is all the way across the 30 to the 31, and flags are down as there was late contact on the play. Robert DeGravio, the safety, came over to make the stop.
And the reason this works is, look, you see Pendergast when he's dropping back, he's looking right. Everybody goes back into that zone, and he does a pretty good job against Brian Robinson. And I tell you what, you want to play quarterback? Yeah, it's lots of fun. Sure it is.
The penalty is going against Queens. Back to the 20-yard line. Objectionable conduct is the call against Queens. It is a first down, but the ball is back at the 20-yard line. First down of the football game for the Golden Gales. They give to the lead back, Kozan, and Mike O'Shea comes up to make the stop on Paul Kozan. who ran for an 8.8-yard average out of the fullback position this year.
And you know, it's so tough. Queens are trying to run inside trap. And it's so tough because the way Guelph defense is designed, they try to protect the linebackers. Their defensive linemen really are trying to stop the offensive linemen from getting down to the linebackers, allowing the linebackers to get underneath to make the play.
Gain of 1. It is now 2nd and 9 from the 21. Pendergast looking over the middle and almost complete as it bounced out of the hands of Ed Kidd. Again, Pendergast threw in traffic, and again, this receiver couldn't squeeze it.
But you know what Tim Pendergast is doing here? He's being aggressive, and this is what I like of the quarterback right now. He's throwing the ball downfield. I mean, that's a pass that should be caught by the receiver. Oh, it's tipped, actually, but it landed right in Ed Kidd's hands, and that's a tough catch. But nevertheless, Tim Pendergast is coming out here aggressive. He's trying to throw the ball down the field.
Jamie Galloway in the punt had trouble with the snap initially and now gets it away. And it bounces between the two Guelph return men. Finally, it is picked up by Robert DeGravio. DeGravio gets outside and now heads upfield. DeGravio looked to be bottled up deep inside Guelph territory, but as it stands, he gets to midfield, and that's where Guelph will begin when we return to the Churchill Bowl on TSN.
Rob DeGravio, the all-star defensive back, shows he's a pretty proficient punt returner as well. What a nifty move right here. Cuts back inside, takes it up the field. Nice job by Rob DeGravio out of Bishop McDonnell High School in Guelph.
The third leading punt returner in the nation, just showed you why. He gets his team up to midfield when it appeared Guelph would have its worst field position of the football game. Queens and Guelph have not met since 1974. In the early days of the Gerald Ford administration. They met in back-to-back years, 1973 and 1974. They have not met since. In fact, a couple of players on the rosters of both teams were born the year these two teams last met. By the way, the overall series, a win apiece. A win today will send one of these teams to the Vanier Cup. Wally Gabler Jr. has pressure. This looks like a broken play. Under pressure, he is dropped. As in to make the stop was the defensive end, Jamie LEWIN, but it looked like there was confusion in the Guelph backfield.
And Gord, you know, you were talking a little bit earlier saying that what a strange number for a defensive lineman, number 29. Well, really, LEWIN and Johnson are really linebackers. LEWIN's only 5'11", 200 pounds. He can run very well. 4'6", 40, strong player, bench presses 340 pounds, and does not allow Gabler to escape contain.
LEWIN comes up to make the stop, and the result is a loss of 12 yards. 2nd and 22 now from the 42 for the Guelph Griffins. Still no score with 5.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Gabler throws up a dying trail, and it is picked off. Intercepted by James Patterson, and Patterson is heading up the sideline. Only Gabler to beat, and Gabler knocks him out of bounds, but not before Patterson gets down to the 9, as Queens has the first turnover of the football game.
These linebackers, number 33 and 36. It's Boone that gets inside, shooting that gap between the guard and center. Wally Gabler, we said earlier, you know, he's got confidence, but you got to watch that. You just can't throw the ball up the field. And James Patterson, who had a great big interception a week ago against Bishops. Now, this is the situation where he had no protection, and Boone had a run on him right away. One thing there as well, Boone anticipated the snap count. Wally Gabler's probably going on the same count every time. And Boone won that battle right there. James Patterson coming down with the interception.
A 43-yard return by Patterson. 1st and goal from the 9 for Queens. Elberg on the toss. Looks to get outside and does. Elberg, touchdown, Queens. One play after the turnover, and Elberg has left the building.
Queens like to run toss. They're going to lead with the fullback, Paul Beresford. Watch this block right here. Boom. That's just enough on Charles Aspen to get Elberg outside, and now it's a foot race. You're not going to catch Brad Elberg. He runs a 4.440. They say maybe the fastest man in the C.I.A.U.
Jamie Galloway for the convert. Didn't miss one all year long. 7-0 Queens. The turnover puts Queens on the board early. We'll return to Skydome and the Churchill Bowl in just a moment. Number 1 with a bullet. Brad Elberg almost found himself on Front Street. It's a home run. And the 6 points for Brad Elberg, a finalist for the Heck Triton Trophy as the outstanding player in the C.I.A.U. in 1992. And it's hard to argue with the numbers this young man has put up this year. Last week against Bishop, the key play, a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown that iced the Gators in Lennoxville.
Well, Brad Elberg set an O-QIFC record this year with 14 touchdowns scored in regular season.
The kickoff is taken deep by Shane Doherty. Doherty gets across the 30. Some tough running and finally gets down to the 35-yard line. And that's where Guelph will begin. And we'll see if Wally Gabler Jr. can shake off the results of that last drive. 1 play, 9 yards. Brad Elberg with the touchdown. James Patterson had the interception and return of 43 yards. That was the key play in that sequence.
Now, coming into this game, Dan McNally, we were talking to him yesterday and today, and he said, you know, what scares me the most about Queens' defense is they like to fire those gaps. We run one back in the backfield. Sometimes we like to get them out of pass rush. We don't have any backs in there to pick up those linebackers when they blitz.
Gabler was not intercepted last week against Western. He's already been picked off once today. The give to Popke. Popke bounces it outside, got maybe 4. Tough running inside as Peter Payne, the linebacker, made the stop along with Mark Morrison.
And, you know, Queens' defensive philosophy all year long has been they want to fire people, they want to get into the quarterback space, they want to make things happen. Take a look at Mark Morrison, one of the many players from outside of Ontario in this Queens team from Okotoks, Alberta.
Just south of Calgary, just so you know. The fake to Popke, Gabler to throw. And looking deep up the sideline. Complete. As running underneath it was Shane Doherty. He could have fair caught that ball. Well, Wally Gabler not afraid to go to the air, and he finds his man Shane Doherty. The gain is 48.
And you know, when you're a coach and you coach quarterbacks, you say never throw it. Never throw that pass. Wally Gabler makes all the coaches look a little bit ridiculous because there was pretty good coverage by Max Turner, but Max Turner gets all turned around, and Shane Doherty comes up with a big reception for Guelph.
Already having a big day. A first down for the Guelph Griffins at the Queens 26-yard line. Well, this Queens defense has been tested early, and Wally Gabler Jr., who we've seen a couple of times this year get very, very hot. Maybe this will be what it takes to get him back on the right track.
And you know, Wally Gabler Jr., he throws the best fade route I've seen Canadian quarterbacks at C.I.U. throw in a long time. He throws the ball very early and throws it high and lets the receiver run underneath it.
1st and 10 from the Queens 26. Gabler will throw again. Timing pattern, nobody there. The intended receiver broke off the pattern. I think he was looking for Doherty again, but Doherty broke it to the sideline.
Okay, now these are sight reads right now. Wally Gabler's coming up to the ball and checking to see whether or not the defender is 5 yards off of the receiver. Now, in that case, Doherty, I think, made the right decision because the defender was backed off more than 5 yards. He's going to run down the field and turn around and hook. If the defender is closer than 5, then that's a sight read. He's going to go and do that deep fade or that go, and Wally Gabler's going to try and throw it into the end zone.
Well, he did throw it to the end zone, but there was nobody from his team there. 2nd and 10. Gabler again looking deep to the end zone to Doherty. Tipped away at the last second. Great defensive play by Chris McCormick, who made up the ground quickly and knocked the ball away from Shane Doherty.
You know, if you watch McCormick, he's the corner, but he's playing inside here. Now, it looks like, boy, this is wide open to Doherty. But you know what? He realizes, McCormick, that the ball is going to be in the air a lot longer, so he's going to have time to react to it and get outside. And that's exactly what happens here. Wally Gabler Jr. sees Doherty wide open, but then McCormick comes across and knocks the ball away because he realizes he has time because the ball's going to be in the air a long period of time.
Dan Walters with the field goal try from 33. Long enough, but wide right. And Queens will concede the single point. So Guelph threatens, but comes away with just one. It is Queens leading by 6 with 2:23 to play in the first quarter. An early touchdown has given Queens a 7-1 lead over Guelph. Our Rod Smith is on the Queens sidelines. Rod, what do you have for us?
Well, Gord, it hasn't really hurt the Golden Gales yet, but one of the problems that have developed on the bench, no communications with the press box above. Of course, the communications can help out, sizing up Guelph's alignment on offense and defense, and so far they haven't been able to talk to those assistant coaches. They're trying to iron it out right now.
And of course, in any league, once the headsets are down on one side, the other side must put theirs down so that it evens up on both sides. So you would assume that right now, both sidelines are unable to communicate with the eyes in the sky upstairs.
And Wally Gabler Jr., he's communicating now with his head coach, Dan McNally.
Queens takes it 1st and 10 at its own 35-yard line. 2:09 to play here in the first half. And they give it off to Paul Kozan, the lead back, and he has a couple of tough yards inside before he's tackled by Sean Haggerty. Now McNally still has the headset on, so they may not have told the Guelph sideline yet that Queens headsets are out.
Well, it looks like Queens also have their headsets on. That might just be out of habit, waiting for them to come back on.
Gain was 6, 2nd and 4. And again, the give goes to the lead back. This time it is Paul Beresford. And Beresford is stopped a couple of yards short of the first down.
Well, it looks like Queens are trying to come out now and run a little bit of option to try and throw off the Guelph defense, but they're not being fooled at all.
Some fans from Moo-U, as they lovingly call it, the University of Guelph, about an hour outside Toronto, known for its outstanding agriculture program. And they are justifiably proud of it. On 3rd and 2, Jamie Galloway is back in punt formation to kick for the 3rd time today. High, deep kick. Taken back at the 25-yard line. Rob DeGravio has nowhere to go this time as he is dropped at the 25, and that's where Guelph will start when we return to the Churchill Bowl. For the 2nd time in 3 years and the 3rd time in 5 years, the Huskies of St. Mary's have advanced to the Vanier Cup. Our congratulations to Larry Utek and company. It'll be St. Mary's against the winner of today's game in the Churchill Bowl, either Queens or Guelph, and it'll set up a first-time Vanier Cup matchup.
And I tell you what, that St. Mary's defense, they looked awful strong today, so whoever of these two teams faces them will have their hands full.
Wally Gabler Jr. has shown flashes of the form he showed last week against Western. His team trails 7-1 with under a minute now to play in the first quarter. Misdirection, they give it back to Popke. Rob Popke fights his way up to the 30-yard line as he is brought down on the play by Max Turner. You know, you talked about the linebackers for Queens, Jamie. Some of the great names we'll ever hear in a linebacking core are out there today. Peter Payne and Greg Brick are out there for Queens. Pete Clubb and Ryan Hunter for Guelph. If only we had Webster Slaughter out there, I think we'd have the full set. The game was 5. It is 2nd and 5 from the 30. The fake to Popke. Gabler has time. Waits. And now throws it too high for the intended receiver, Hugh Drennan. So Gabler had his man, but misfired.
Well, I think Wally Gabler overthrew him on purpose because Hugh Drennan was being baited. There's a defensive back coming up right behind Hugh, and I think he was waiting for Wally Gabler to try and throw it in there so he could step in front. But wisely, decides to throw it away. They'll kick it away, and don't give Queens anything cheap. He's got lots of time. He's looking downfield. Now he comes back to Drennan, but he overthrows it on purpose because there's a defensive back right there. Good move by Wally Gabler Jr.
And he will now punt for the 3rd time today. It should result in good field position for Queens. Its best field position came as the result of a turnover. Aside from that, the Guelph defense has done a good job bottling up Queens offense. Gabler mishandles the snap. The ball is loose, and it's Queens football at the 16-yard line. scooped up by Greg Brick. And another key turnover by the Guelph Griffins gives Queens outstanding field position.
And you know, this game right now where it has shades of last year's game written all over. I mean, this is exactly how Queens got out in front last year against Laurier. They had all the breaks go the way in the first half. We see Wally Gabler Jr. has some difficulty finding the handle of that football. And Guelph are actually lucky that somebody from Queens just didn't pick the ball up and run into the end zone, because there was nobody else from Guelph around. See, he tries to pick it up. And coming in is one of the linebackers you mentioned, Greg Brick.
So it's been a tough day so far for Wally Gabler Jr. and company. The final play of the first quarter sees Greg Brick and his aerodynamic dude recovering the ball inside the 20. They spotted it at the 18-yard line of Guelph. Queens is knocking on the door. We'll see what happens when we return to the Churchill Bowl in just a moment. The story so far has been big defensive plays by Queens, and Rod Smith is standing by with a man who made one of them.
Yeah, and that man is James Patterson, who had the interception to set up the touchdown, Gordon. James, the key for Queens defense was controlling Wally Gabler and shutting him down. So far, you've been able to do that.
Yeah, well, the guys up front have really been doing a great job of coming in low and hard, and hopefully trying to use our speed. They used a lot of deep drops, 5-step drops, 7-step drops, and with the initial coverage, that allows us to get to them.
You're fired up now, aren't you?
Yeah, I hope so. Just hope we can maintain it for 60 minutes.
Thank you. Gordon?
All right, thanks very much, Rod. Just 44 yards in net offense thus far for Queens, but outstanding field position puts Queens in position to score its second touchdown of the game. 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. The fake to Elberg. They look over the middle to Kidd. The pass was tipped, but Kidd almost got it anyway. And back there to provide the coverage was Robert DeGravio, who's been a very busy safety man today.
And it's interesting, Gord, James Patterson's comments about maintaining it for 60 minutes as we take a look at Pendergast back. This is why all you defensive linemen want to rush in with their hands up, because it gets in the quarterback's vision, and also they can tip the football.
Now 2nd and 10. Just underway in the second quarter. Queens leads 7-1. Toss to Elberg outside, reverses his field. Now he's got trouble, but he gets a great block. And now Elberg's got room to run. Tries to turn it back inside, but this persistent Guelph defense finally bottles him up. DeGravio comes up to make another stop, as Elberg was elusive once, but finally couldn't get away from the Guelph Griffins.
This is a great job by the Guelph linebackers. You can see inside Mike O'Shea, and they turn him around, and then they force him back the other way. But still, DeGravio comes up, and all the defensive backs make sure that they do not lose contain. If Elberg's going to run the football, he's got to turn it back inside. That's where all the help will be coming from.
And Dan McCullough, the tight end, with a great turnback block on that play. Galloway now with a field goal attempt from 29 yards. High snap goes right to Galloway. And now he's got trouble. The ball is loose. And it is Guelph football at the 28-yard line. So the Griffins fight back. Rob McRae got up to make the play. And Guelph gets a break. And I guess you'd have to figure the Griffins were due.
Take a look at the high snap going through Steve Olthen, the backup quarterback's hand, right to Galloway. Now look at Olthen. He goes out to the left. Galloway gets a little bit confused here, not sure what to do, and then he loses the football. Because if that kind of a situation happens, they usually have a release. The holder usually goes out to the left to try and get into a pass route.
The result is a Guelph first down and new life from the Griffins' 27-yard line. Popke on first down gets away from the initial tackle, bounces it outside, but has nowhere to go. Max Turner up to make the stop. And it's a loss of a couple.
In the backfield initially was Eric Dell, which broke that play up. And then Popke tries to bounce it outside, but Max Turner again maintains that proper contain. Keeps the outside leverage, forcing Popke to stop and try and turn back inside.
Loss was 3 at 2nd and 13. Gabler to the far side. He was looking again to Shane Doherty, but the pass was too high. Coverage is provided on the play by Joel Dagnoni.
And you know, in the secondary, Gord, Queens are not doing anything fancy. They're just challenging the Guelph receivers. They're playing man coverage right across the field. So the ball a little high, and see how Doherty kind of winces a little bit, saying, hey, don't hang me out to dry. You're going to throw that football. short, right at my number.
Wally Gabler Jr. is back to punt. Last time he had difficulty with the snap. This time he fields it clean. High, spiraling punt. Taken at the 40. Steve Jovanic, and Jovanic gets up across the 50 to the 52-yard line, and that's where Queens will begin when we return to the 1992 Churchill Bowl. 1973, it was Queens beating Guelph in Guelph 33-14. 1 year later, Guelph returned the favor in Kingston. These two teams haven't met since.
These were back in the days when the OUAA and the O-QIFC would have a couple of crossover games each year. It's no longer the case anymore until the end of the regular season and they meet in the playoffs.
Queens begins 1st and 10 from its own 52-yard line. The Golden Gales lead this game by a count of 7-1. Here's Elberg inside. Gets across midfield inside Guelph territory to the 54-yard line. Darrell Boyd up to make the stop along with Hugh Tharby.
Hugh Tharby had two brothers that played college football. Clive played Wilfrid Laurier University in this game a year ago, and his other brother Bruce played for the Western Mustangs as an offensive guard. Now Hugh making his name here with the Guelph Griffins.
Elberg had just 12 yards rushing in the first quarter, but 9 of them came on the only touchdown run of the football game. On 2nd down, Pendergast. Jovanic has it and is close to a first down and should have it as he's inside the 50 to about the 47. Chuck Osman makes the tackle.
Take a look, they split Jovanic way out, then he bursts down the field and then turns around and then works back to the football. Aaron Tate is the corner out on that side. He's backed off about 12 yards, so they're going to take those little passes if they give them to him.
It is a first down at the 47-yard line. Again, here is Elberg. Tough yards down to about the 44-yard line. And again, Hugh Tharby is in to help make the stop.
Make sure you get your calls together, okay? And if you're gonna lead front side, then you're gonna come hard to cut them on the play side leg, okay? All right, we all together now? All right, now let's just hang in there. Come on, Dave. Long way from over. Let's go now, D. Let's
all right, Jamie, in English?
I couldn't actually see it enough, but it looks like they're trying to talk about is chipping off of that tackle that's lining up in the gap and getting down to the linebacker.
2nd down, Pendergast over the middle and complete. As he has it over there to Ed Kidd, and Kidd has another first down for Queens.
Ed Kidd, who came to Queens as a quarterback initially, now on the receiving end of Tim Pendergast's pass, was down the field. Now Guelph for his own defense football team. They don't play a lot of man coverage, they just try and play zone, and Ed Kidd just comes around, finds an opening in the zone, and sits in it. Actually, Ed Kidd played quarterback in 1989 when Queens won the Churchill Bowl against Saskatchewan.
Another first down, and Pendergast up to throw again. Deep down the sidelines, he has Kidd wide open. Touchdown, Queens. Ed Kidd from 34 yards out.
This is the Tim Pendergast Queens fan have known over the past 4 years. They haven't seen much of it this year, but a perfect pass. Ed Kidd gets into the seam. See DeGravio, he's got the responsibility deep outside to the left, but Kidd gets into that seam, and a perfect strike by Tim Pendergast.
And the convert makes it a 14-1 lead for Queens. Although I guess if you remember last year, Guelph has them right where they want. The former quarterback is the receiver on this play, and it gives Queens a 13-point lead.
And a nice route. He dips his shoulder inside, and he makes it look like to DeGravio he's going to go inside. Then he breaks it out into that seam, and then turns his shoulders upfield. Nice upfield to get into the end zone. Tim Pendergast, you think he's happy? The kind of year he's had? Yes.
curiosity is how many other ex-C.I.U. quarterbacks could play wide receiver? The kickoff by Galloway. Taken by Heron Tate at the 15-yard line. Tate got a couple, but not far as he's bottled up at the 15. Let's go downstairs to Rod Smith.
Well, Gord, while the Griffins' offense watch their defense give the Gales a second touchdown, they're concerned with running the football. Now, Gabler's had a lot of pressure on him, but Reg Velitinucci, the offensive line coach, said, let's get together, guys. We're not covering off the linebackers who are moving in the gap between the tackle and the guard and causing all kinds of trouble for the Griffins right now.
And do they ever miss Kyle Walters? Outstanding running back who suffered a knee injury last week against Western. He is not playing today. And there is an injured Queens Golden Gale, Rob Thurger. Thurger appears to be all right as he jogs off the field under his own power. 5 plays, 58 yards on the second scoring possession for Queens. Now 14-1 Golden Gale. Remember, last year, this is the last time I'll say it, they led 20-3 at the half and lost to Laurier. Hopke outside, has room across the 25 and up close to the 30 as he gets to the 29.
Yeah, they did a great job there at getting outside with a quick pitch. They pulled the right guard, John Lever. Reverse pivot, they pull the right guard. Now you can see the guard in front of him, number 62, John Lever. I mean, there's no one really to hit. Great job by Hugh Drennan in the end to make sure that he secures the end to allow the guard to get outside.
1st and 10, Guelph at the own 27-yard line. Hopke again. Gets popped as he crosses the 30. And Doug Hargraves has to like what he's seen so far. We even get a smile from the head coach early in the second quarter.
An impressive record at Queens University coming into this game. 106 wins, 48 losses, and 3 ties.
Game of sports now 2nd and 6. For the throw out in the flat. And he has it complete over there. I believe that was Bill McClay with his first catch of the football game. And McClay, who had 15 receptions during the regular season, has his first catch of this day. Max Turner made the stop.
Take McClay just out in that flat, a little short flat. And a good job by Max Turner does not allow McClay to get his shoulders turned up the field. You can see that prevents him from getting the first down.
Short of the first down by less than a yard. Guelph will gamble here with 8 minutes to play in the second quarter. And McNally and company trailing by 13 points. 3rd and less than a yard. Hopke has the first down easily as he crosses the 40.
Dan McNally, the head coach of the Guelph Griffins. Pretty good surge by the offensive line to get down, and they're actually running at the bubble. You can see that they're all stacked inside. They decide to go off tackle. Creates better angles. The offensive lineman can block down, and then Hopke can just find that seam.
First down from the 41. Hopke once more. And this time he didn't get far. As Hopke was drilled once again, Mike Boone and Greg Brick come up to make the stop.
You know, Mike Boone, you're talking about him playing one of those key linebacker spots inside. You know, he was an All-Canadian in 1990. He was All-Conference last year, but was not All-Canadian. And then this year was not even All-Conference in the O-QIFC. You can see that kind of a play that he makes. He is an outstanding linebacker. Peter Payne is the injured football player.
The outstanding middle linebacker for the Queens Golden Gales. Man who gets to play in his backyard of Kingston, Ontario.
And some people might think Queens, and maybe even Guelph for that matter, don't play on AstroTurf a lot. Guelph last week was their first time playing on turf this season. Queens have played twice on AstroTurf, once at McGill University this season and also in Lansdowne Park in Ottawa when they took on the GGs. So this is not unusual for them to be on turf.
Was 2. It is 2nd and 8. And now Gaylor to throw over the middle, and he has one interception in this football game, very nearly had his second.
And, you know, Max Turner's talking to him saying, oh, gosh, if that had just been thrown over your head, I had the interception. Again, they fake play action pass. They like to get Gabler outside. Good coverage downfield. He overthrows the intended receiver, and you can see Turner, number 17, moving into position to intercept it. But Patterson, his teammate, knocks it away.
And now Wally Gabler will stay in the punt. 6:30 to play in the second quarter. Another low snap. Gabler manages the field, and it gets it away. LEWIN from the 30. It's about 7 as he stopped at the 38-yard line. It's Queens leading by 13 and looking to add to it. The Churchill Bowl continues in a moment. Do not adjust your set. That is a Canadian flag, folks. It's just been doctored to the Queen's colors for the occasion. And speaking of the Queen's colors, the Golden Gales are wearing their dark jerseys today.
Yeah, those are the dark gold ones as opposed to the light gold ones.
They double as their light jerseys. They only have one set, Queens. In fact, there was a move a couple of years ago for Queens to change its colors. More on that in a moment. 1st and 10 from the 38. Here's Elberg. Brad Elberg gets away from the initial wave. Up close to midfield, still going. Brad Elberg all the way down to the 39-yard line. Finally stopped by Pete Flood, but not before Brad Elberg at a gain of 31 yards.
And you know, Brad Elberg used to play fullback, so he's used to running the ball inside. You can see they run that trap again. And then bang, look at the athletic ability that he has. Keeps his feet moving all the time and the strength that he has in his lower part of his body. He is an explosive running back. Keeps the feet moving, tossing, turning. Actually, if it's not for number 57, Pete Clubb, he's in the end zone.
As it is, it's a first down for Queens at the Guelph 40-yard line. Again, here's Elberg. This time, not much. Maybe a couple. I mentioned a moment ago about Queens uniforms. They were going to change to almost a Notre Dame look with blue sweaters as their darts, but that was nixed quickly at Kingston.
Yeah, that's what I understand. I guess whenever they have to decide to change the uniforms to Queens, I think it has to go right through the Board of Regents. And somebody there decided to nix it because they have a lot of traditionalists there and saying, hey, we've had these colors since the inception of our football program. Let's not change them.
And besides, you only have to buy one set.
It's cheaper.
I'm sure that wasn't part of the equation. The equation here is 2nd and 8 after a 2-yard gain by Elberg. On 2nd down, Pendergast over the middle has it complete over there as he finds Dan McCullough. And McCullough, the big blocking tight end, makes the catch and is close to another Queens first down.
And, you know, that's great awareness by Dan McCullough, knowing how far downfield they had to go for the first down and then just turning around. And, you know, when you have those big tight ends, 6'2", 215, he just turns around and shields the defender with his body. You can see Rayan Aolu coming in and making the stop.
Something you don't see much in the CFL that you do see in the C.I.A.U. is still the big blocking tight end.
The teams run the ball in C.I.U. football. They don't run the ball all that much in the CFL.
On 3rd and inches, Pendergast goes straight ahead. Let's go downstairs to Rod Smith.
Gordon, you'd think that Wally Gabler would be getting a little bit frustrated right now, but he's not really showing it. He says, despite the early success, Queens defense really hasn't shown anything new. Gabler still thinks there's plenty of time to exploit it.
As he orders a pizza over your shoulder.
You know, that's a good point that Rod makes because, look, we saw them in the OUAA semifinal game against Toronto, a game in which it was 10-10 at the end of regulation time. And then they exploded in the overtime.
1st and 10 from the 28. Here's Elberg. Brad Elberg finding his way outside and gets down to about the 21. Stop is made the play by Heron Tate. But another big pickup by Brad Elberg.
You know, you look at this again, it's toss. They lead with a fullback, and then Brad Elberg's going to read it. Instead of going inside, he decides to take it outside and use his speed. Now, you know, it doesn't look like he's gaining very much here, but you know what? 8 yards later, he's down the field.
They mark it as a pickup of 7, make it 2nd and 3 from the 21. Under 3.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Queens leading 14-1. Paul Kozan, the lead ball carrier, he ran right into the waiting arms of linebacker Steve McKee.
You know,
now be 3rd and 3.
Sorry, Guard, they're going to have a tough time running that inside option look with the fullback because you take a look at the 2 defensive tackles. They're trying to get into the gap between the guard and tackle and allow the linebacker to take those A gaps in between the center and the guard.
What?
We know we talked about this before. In between the garden centers, or the A gaps, betwbetween the guard and tackles, B gaps, C gaps between the tackle and the tight end. So
here's Jamie Galloway with the field goal try from the 27-yard line. And Galloway puts it through, making a 16-point lead for Queens with 2:48 to play in the first half. And the St. Mary's Huskies are Vanier Cup bound. We'll see them at Sky-Dome next week after St. Mary's defeated Calgary 23-11. And the Huskies anxiously watching this game to see if they'll play Queens or Guelph. Note the start time, 2:30, Saturday, November 21st, 2:30 Eastern Time. As TSN presents the 1992 Vanier Cup. First and 10, Guelph from the zone 35-yard line. 2:39 to play in the first half. It's been a tough go for Wally Gabler Jr. and company so far. And he's up to throw, looking for Dave Irwin, complete, up at about the 48-yard line.
It's a nice play by Guelph. They fake, counter, tackle, trap, and counter trap. They bring both guard and tackle the opposite side, and they bring Wally Gabler out naked. And then they take Dave Irwin down the field, and he just turns out, and James Patterson there in the coverage. He's got one-on-one outside here. Again, we talk about Queens playing man coverage.
Dave Irwin was Wally Gabler's favorite receiver over the course of the regular season. He has a big catch here, giving Guelph a first down at the 48. Gabler again up the throw, complete once again to Irwin inside Guelph territory at the 50-yard line of the Golden Gales. So Irwin with his first 2 catches of the football game. And now Guelph is on the march.
And, you know, I think this is one of the toughest passes to throw to quarterback. Receiver doing the slant in. Because if you miss, it's usually picked off. I mean, that's right in the hole. Nice job by Dave Irwin to come down with that catch. And again, Wally Gabler has Jamie LEWIN in his face. The outside linebacker. Really, he lines up as a defensive end, but he's a linebacker for all intents and purposes.
First and 10 from the 40. 1:35 to play in the first half. Gabler on the roll, throwing to the flat, complete. And he has it out there to Kevin Reed. Reed makes the catch despite the fact he was bumped before the ball got there.
Again, I like to get Wally Gabler outside, fake that play action, and now he just waits for his receiver to turn around and he throws a strike outside. Actually, nice pass to throw it back inside so that Kevin Reed can make that reception. There's Chris McCormick right there, just missing, knocking the ball away.
And now it's a timeout called by Guelph with 1:31 to play in the first half. Gabler wants to talk it over with Dan McNally and the rest of the staff. Dan McNally was an assistant coach with the Acadia Axemen when they defeated the University of Alberta in the 1981 Vanier Cup game, looking for a return ticket to the championship game. The irony is that the outstanding running back for Acadia that year, Quentin Tynes, played in the C.I.A.U. this year.
Quentin Snoopy Tynes, and I think he played with Acadia.
As a 30-year-old this year, he ranked 6th in the AUAA in rushing.
And you were talking about Dan McNally. I played with Dan McNally back at Acadia in 1974. One year I was in the Guelph, Nova Scotia campus. And a player there for 4 years and then went on to coach.
First and 10 for the Guelph Griffins from the Queens 31-yard line. Queens leads this game 17-1. Gabler gives to Popke. Rob Popke tries to leg it outside, but he's dragged down on an outstanding defensive play as running up to make the stop was defensive back Aaron Campbell.
And, you know, we saw Aaron Campbell a week ago have a great game against Bishops as he came in off the bench. This is a great shoestring tackle right here. If he doesn't tackle him, I'll tell you what, Popke's got a lot of room to get down the sideline. Aaron Campbell came in as a 7th defensive back last week, intercepted some key passes. Now he's playing well so far today.
Timing pattern up the sideline, looking for Irwin, and the ball comes out. Irwin appeared to have it for a moment, but Chris McCormick was back there with the coverage as tight as a glove.
And you know what? That's exactly how you have to play the fade route if you're Chris McCormick. Watch how he looks inside to the receiver. That's how you play it. I'll tell you what, if he looks outside or he looks back in towards the goalpost, that ball's going to be caught by Dave Irwin. No pass interference there because he's looking back to the football and he's playing the football.
And that'll bring on Dan Walters for the field goal attempt from 37 yards. Way wide. And once again, Queens quite happy to give up the single point. Guelph has had only 2 threatening possessions, and both times Dan Walters has missed on the field goal attempt.
I think he's making reference there to Bob LaRose, the head coach of Western.
And not nearly the smiles on the Guelph sideline.
Dan McNally, you can see he's giving encouragement to his team. Way to move it down there. There's some positive things that were happening there. They're starting to find some of the cracks in that Queens defense.
Now Queens with a 1st and 10 from its own 35-yard line. Here is Elberg, and Elberg doesn't get much as he's bottled up right away by Mike O'Shea, nominated for the President's Trophy in 1992 as the outstanding defensive player in the nation. He's been named as well to the All-Canadian team.
And if you take a look at Brad Elberg, he's looking up actually at the Jumbotron at the replay of that last play. He's trying to see where the blocking was and what happened. Their huddle, the way he's facing now, is looking right into the Jumbotron.
And Pendergast wants to talk it over on the sidelines. We talked a number of times about what happened last year in the Churchill Bowl to Queens. There was a sign in their locker room. 1 step away is still not there. And we heard earlier Doug Hargraves saying there's no need for him to emphasize that in the dressing room. The media has been doing it for them all week long.
And you also heard earlier James Patterson, the defensive back for Queens, telling Rod Smith, we've got to play 60 minutes, not 30, like we did last year. This is a 60-minute football game. We've got to maintain our intensity throughout that.
You know, it's interesting. Queens has one of the outstanding football programs in the nation, yet the Golden Gales haven't been to the Vanier since 1983 and haven't won it since 1978. And this guy would be a major reason for them returning to the Vanier Cup this season. What a load he has been this season and today. Brad Elberg, the tailback #1. We'll see him at the C.I.A.U. Awards as well, as he's nominated as the outstanding player from the Ontario-Quebec Conference. Under a minute to play now. Pendergast throws it out in the flat, and it falls incomplete as he was looking over there for Paul Beresford. And jumping up to make the coverage, Ray Ayolu.
And he's a guy who would know Queens University because he went to Frontenac High School in Kingston. I'm sure he would know a few of the players on the Queens roster as well.
And it'll bring up a 3rd down situation for Queens with 53 seconds to play in the first half. This is a good opportunity for Guelph. They'll have time to work with the ball. They should get good field position. And you'd think it would be uppermost in their minds to try to get some points before the end of the half. Galloway with a high, deep punt. DeGravio all the way back at the 35-yard line, trying to get up ahead of steam, and he stopped up at the 50. Still, Guelph has some time to work with, 42 seconds. But they've got a long ways to go.
And, you know, I think this is where Wally Gabler is at his best when we've seen him play this year. When he gets in these situations where he's down, he's only got a little bit of time left, he is very good at using the clock and also getting his team down the field.
Well, it's been a frustrating first half for Wally Gabler Jr. and the rest of the Guelph Griffins. And Wally's going over to talk it over with Dan McNally once more. Unusual they take a timeout in that situation. Gabler was just on the sideline.
Well, I think it was Queens calling the timeout, though, Ford. You see Doug Hargraves not involved in the timeout because he would let his defensive coordinator, Bob Mullins, talk to Mike Boone, defensive captain. See them on the sidelines.
Well, they've had most of the right buttons pushed so far today. It's a 17-2 lead for Queens. The winner of this game advances to the Vanier Cup to beat St. Mary's next week.
You know, Mike Boone was saying a little bit of a homecoming for him because he played with two players in Guelph. Wally Gabler Jr., of course, they both went to Lauren Park Secondary School in Mississauga. And also the linebacker for Guelph, Steve McKee. So it looks like Lauren Park produced a couple of pretty good linebackers that year.
On 1st and 10 from the 50. Gabler has time. Looking for Irwin, but another great defensive play is made by James Patterson. Let's go down to Rod Smith.
Gord, joining me now, Guelph linebacker Mike O'Shea. And Mike, the interception set up the one Queens touchdown. Other than that, you're not playing the Gales too bad.
No, that second touchdown was just a bust coverage on the corner. We're playing pretty good on the run. I think, you know, for such a good running team, we're playing them heads up on the run. It's pretty good.
Many adjustments at halftime, do you think you'll need?
No, not really. Not at all.
Thanks, Mike. Gord?
The key area of concern is the unit that is on the field now, the offense, on 2nd and 10. With 36 seconds to play in the first half. Gabler again for Irwin, and he dropped the ball. He was open, and Dave Irwin took his eye off the ball.
You know, this is a situation where the last play when Patterson came up and knocked the ball away almost instantly. Here he is. Look at his head. Look, he's looking around before he secures the football. That's what tight defensive coverage will do for you.
And what do you teach receivers?
Look the ball in. You catch it, you look it in until you have it secure, and then you knife up the field.
Well, a frustrated Wally Gabler has been a lot busier punting than he's been passing so far today. And he'll be forced to kick it back with 32 seconds to play here in the first half. Another high spiraling punt over the head of Steve Yovanich. All the way down inside the 10. It bounces around there and finally falling on it. It was Mark Morrison of Queens, and a flag is down as they tried to draw the no yards infraction, which they may have been successful in doing. Referee Bertie Young has done a very nice job today. Haven't seen too many flags today.
Yeah, it's nice when you can allow both teams to play the football game, and both teams are playing heads up right now. Not a lot of penalties, not a lot of infractions.
I wonder if Bernie can referee hockey games.
There is no flag on the play.
Even fewer flags than we thought. So as a result, Queens has bottled up inside its own 10 at the 9, but with 20 seconds to play in the first half, the Golden Gales should be able to run out the clock and head to the dressing room with a 17-2 lead. Barring some unforeseen catastrophe from the Golden Gales' perspective. From the 9. Elber gets a couple and finally goes down as the gang of Guelph linebackers was there to make the stop. Rob McRae, the nose tackle, along with McKee and O'Shea, number 51. An All-Canadian, Mike O'Shea, the only All-Canadian from the Guelph Griffins. Every other team in the Final Four has 2.
Oh, you must know something I don't.
Now on 2nd down from the 11. Here's Elberg with room, and Elberg bursts through for a first down as he gets all the way up to the 25-yard line on the final play of the first half. The Golden Gales have had their way so far, but as they learned last year, football games are 2 halves long. Halftime is coming up next as Brad Elberg and the Queens Golden Gales head for the dressing room with a 17-2 lead. A lead gained in large part to an outstanding defensive unit of the Golden Gales. All right, let's go downstairs to Rod Smith, who's with Dan McNally.
All right, thank you, Gord. Dan, this must be discouraging, but in a way encouraging that you could move the ball late in the half.
Yeah, you know, we hurt ourselves on a couple of things. We turned the ball over, and they capitalized on it. That was something we didn't want to do. And, you know, Elberg's had a couple of good runs, and Pendergast is playing good football. So it's a challenging half coming up.
Do the Griffins need to make many adjustments at halftime?
No, I don't think we need to make a lot of adjustments. You know, we can't reinvent anything at halftime. So we've just got to settle down, I think, and find a little bit of rhythm on offense.
1 year ago, the Golden Gales led Laurier by a wide margin at the half. Are you mindful at all? You're going to talk to the players about that, how Laurier was able to come back against Queens last year?
They're well aware of that, and that's not going to be what makes a difference here today. I don't think history is pretty irrelevant when you're in a real football game. So, you know, we've just got to come up and make it happen on our own. Queens isn't going to lay down.
All right, thank you, Dan McNally. Gord?
All right, thanks very much, Rod. Dan McNally has some work to do in the dressing room. And we come back, our halftime festivities. You're watching the 1992 Churchill Bowl, a doubleheader Saturday on TSN. Let's talk about this football game today, and really a couple of big plays set up scores. James Patterson with an interception returned for 43 yards, sets up Queens' first touchdown.
And, you know, when you get inside of the 20-yard line, Queens, you know, are always going to go to that tailback, Brad Elberg. He takes the pitch out, and he uses his speed to get into the end zone, and that gives Queens the early lead.
Yeah, he got into the end zone and then some. It was a one-play, 9-yard drive as Elberg made the score. Defense has been a major story in this football game as well.
And especially when you're looking at the Queens side of things, it looks like Guelph is getting down into Queens territory. It looks like they're going to be maybe putting some points on the board here. But this is the kind of defensive play we've seen from Queens today. Wally Gabler Jr. throwing the ball deep to Shane Doherty. And then Chris McCormick, the corner, makes a great play there to stop the touchdown.
And that resulted in one of 2 missed field goals by Guelph.
And then, of course, Queens come right back. Tim Pendergast finds Ed Kidd, and he turns it up the field and gets into the end zone, and that gives Queens the big lead going in at halftime.
I guess if you're Queens, you don't change much. They look pretty good there. 5 plays, 58 yards, and the touchdown that gives them the 17-2 lead they enjoy now. You don't change much. If you're Guelph, what do you do?
Well, I think if you're Guelph, I think you just got to come out and still run your offense. I think they saw some light there in the second quarter when they started to move the ball down the field where they alternated throwing the ball effectively. They also started to find room for Rob Popke. I don't think Dan McNally panics at all in this situation. He's only down, 15 points. That's a touchdown and a 2-point converted touchdown. This game is not going to end 17-2. I can guarantee you that.
Do they miss the running of Kyle Walters?
No question. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. In the OUA playoff game we did, he had over 120 yards rushing. He looked like he was on his way to a 100-yard rushing game last week. The thing that Walters gives you, he's not only experienced, but he's very fast. He runs a 4.5 40, and they might miss that a little bit. But, hey, don't take anything away from Rob Popke. He's doing a pretty good job today so far.
Well, Guelph has won 2 playoff games in which it has trailed this year, and the Griffins trail big time here. It's a 15-point lead for Queens. Back with more from halftime at the Churchill Bowl when our coverage of C.I.A.U. football continues.
And welcome back to the Sky Dome. We are at the half in the Churchill Bowl. The Queens Golden Gales leading the Guelph Griffins by a score of 17-2. Talked a little bit earlier about the offense of Guelph and how they put up 45 points 1 week ago in the Yates Cup against Western. Wally Gabler was a big reason for that. Look at him, though, in the first half of this game. 6 for 18, 108 yards, 1 interception. A shadow of the offense he was able to put up 1 week ago. He was 15 for 24 in that game against Western, 384 yards and 5 touchdowns. Guelph still in quest of its first touchdown in this game. On the other side of the ball, Tim Pendergast for Queens in the first half, 6 for 10, 84 yards and 1 touchdown. Let's go now to Rod Smith.
Okay, thank you, Paul. And joining me now, the head coach of the Queens Golden Gales, Doug Hargraves. Now, I know you well enough from having played at Queens that you never take anything for granted. I would think especially since what happened last year against Laurier. What did you say at halftime?
We mentioned that. Talked about the next 30 minutes being the most important of their lives, even if they live as long as I am. Whatever they do in the next 30 minutes will be a memory. Let's make it a great one.
You must be pleased with the way the defense has been playing so far. Putting the pressure on Gabler, it seems that he's rattled. He's not throwing the ball that well.
Yes, I'm pleased. I told you, Rod, don't ask any questions I can answer yes or no.
That's an old rule, and I'm breaking it right now.
Yeah.
Well, make any changes at all? You must just want to keep doing what you're doing for the second half.
Yeah, I think we'll do what we've been doing, maybe play a little bit better on defense.
Thank you, Doug. Good luck.
Okay, Rod.
Doug Hargraves hasn't been to a Vanier Cup since 1983, looking to get back there with one more good half.
All right, thanks very much, Rod. And his Queens Golden Gales have 1 foot in the door of the Vanier, but the trick is to get right through. 84 yards passing. They're actually outpassed by Guelph, 108 to 84. Net yards, Queens with a 10-yard advantage. But turnovers, 2 by Guelph, and they were key.
Yeah, that's a key right there. You know, the James Patterson interception as well as the Wally Gabler fumble of the punt when he was trying to kick it off, and Queens recovered it and scored off of that as well. So that has been the difference right now, the turnovers in this football game.
You heard Doug Hargraves mention this is the most important half of your life. It brings to mind a story about Vince Lombardi, who for 3 straight weeks told his team it was the biggest game of their lives. And the Packer players all said afterwards, and every week he said it, and every week they believed him. And I don't doubt there are many people on the Queens sidelines who would reflect on last year and not think that this would be the biggest half of their football careers. Wally Gabler had an outstanding week last week. He was near perfect. He'll have to be that and a little more for his team to come back today.
And Tim Pendergast, the Queens quarterback, actually has had a pretty good first half. That's the kind of performance they want from him. Doesn't have to be flashy, doesn't have to be throwing all these touchdown passes, even though he did have one in the first half. They want him to be able to convert on 2nd down and long, and so far he's been able to do a fairly good job of that.
His brother Jamie was a tight end for Queens the last time it went to the Vanier Cup. And now he tries to win the championship that has eluded Queens for nearly 15 years. Dan McNally's been to the Vanier before, but not as a head coach. His team has an uphill climb to get there now. A running offense, normally that's not the kind of situation you'd want to be in when you're down, but they're down 15, and there is a lot of time to play, Jim.
No, there is, and I think that he's not worried all that much right now because the kind of quarterbacking that he does have in Wally Gabler Jr., the kind of receivers that Guelph have. And you mentioned, Gord, this is a team that likes to throw the football. And you're never going to be out of it at any time in this football game until that final gun goes and you have a quarterback the caliber of Wally Gabler and you can throw the football effectively.
Guelph will open the second half with the football as Jamie Galloway gets set to kick it off. Guelph threatened on a number of occasions, but missed a pair of field goal tries by Dan Walker. The result of 2 singles have been the only points that Guelph has managed to score in the football game. So 30 more minutes of football. And then the Vanier Cup picture will be complete. And St. Mary's will have an opponent for the national championship game next week right here at C.I.A.U. Aaron Tate gives it off to Rob DeGravio. DeGravio, the outstanding return man for Guelph, didn't have far to go there. He's bottled up short of the 25 at about the 23-yard line.
You know, I think that's a bit of a mistake in that kickoff return. They always tell those up men, never go back to get the football. Let the guy that's deeper come up and get it, and that would have been Aaron Tate. He would have had that ball right in the run, probably made a few more yards.
Guelph has knocked off a couple of difficult teams on the road to the Vanier Cup. Toronto in overtime, a game we did here on TSN, and Western last week. Now the Griffins must knock off Queens. 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line to open this second half. They give inside to Rob Popke. Bounces off 1 tackle and gets his way up to the 27-yard line, a gain of about 3.
See, the difficult thing that Guelph are having right now in terms of their blocking schemes, their whole blocking scheme, they're trying to take care of the down linemen. They don't concern themselves with the linebackers very much. When you look at the linebackers that Queens have, Peter Payne, Mike Boone, Greg Brick, they're all back off the line of scrimmage and they're all to one side. It looks like a big bubble there. They're trying to run there, but they don't have any of their offensive linemen getting on them. So consequently, their linebackers can come in and make the play.
Gain was 3 at 2nd and 7. Gabler looks the other way, picked off, intercepted by James Patterson, who's got room to run. And Patterson gets all the way down to the 14-yard line. That pass was right in his hand. And he takes the ball back 26 yards.
Now, Wally Gabler looks to the right here initially, doesn't see anything, then he comes back and he throws it thinking the receiver's going to be hooked up there, and that was Dave Irwin. They haven't really been on the same page today. And again, James Patterson comes up with the big play. Looks right, nothing there, looks left. I think he felt that Irwin was going to hook up in front, but instead he throws a strike right to James Patterson.
Shades of last week for Queens. What a huge play made the difference to open the second half. Last week it was the kickoff return for a touchdown by Elberg. Here it's the interception by Patterson. 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line for Queens. Up by 15. Elberg inside, tough yards as he gets down to the 8. A gain of about 6.
Brad Elberg starts off to the right. All great running backs have very good vision. You can see his eyes. He sees nothing there to the right, and then he comes back, and it's only a tackle by a linebacker, Pete Clubb. It stops Elberg from going into the end zone.
The gain was 6. It is 2nd and 4 from the 9. Elberg scored a touchdown after Patterson's first interception. Now here's Pendergast to throw to the end zone, and it's broken up at the final second. He was looking over there for the tight end, Dan McCullough, but an outstanding defensive play is made by Ray Ayolu.
Tim Pendergast going back man coverage at this place in the football field, and that's very good coverage by Ray Ayolu. Just getting a hand on it, knocking it away.
So once again, this Guelph defense, when it must, comes up with a key stand, but Jamie Galloway will try the field goal from 16 yards. This to make it an 18-point lead. And Galloway puts it through, make it 20-2 Queens. Where have we seen this before? Last year it was 20-3 at this point. And we'll be right back. Two, Queens is leading Guelph. We are early in the 3rd quarter of the Churchill Bowl. There has not been much to cheer about thus far for Guelph, thanks in large part to this man. James Patterson has 2 interceptions. He's returned them for a total of 69 yards.
He must feel good playing at home here in front of his friends and family. He went to Lawrence Park Collegiate in downtown Toronto.
So Guelph gets the ball back. Gabler's last pass was picked off. 1st and 10 from the 35. Again, it's Popke cutting inside and hurdling his way over the 30-yard line. He gets up to about the 37. Popke up and over. And Eric Dell, the J.P. Metris Trophy nominee as the outstanding lineman, was there to make the stop.
Rob Popke trying to hurdle Eric Dell.
If you can make it over him, you'll go to the Olympics. Gain of 3, and a 2nd and 7. Gabler dumps it over the middle, and it's incomplete as he was looking for Kevin Tenick.
And, you know, that's the right read for Wally Gabler. He saw the linebackers trying to shoot into the gap between the guard and center, realizing that the middle would be open. You can see again, it's Mike Boone, inside linebacker, trying to come inside. Also, Peter Payne was there. Excuse me, I believe that is Rob Thurger, who's in there for an injured Greg Brick. Or excuse me, injured Peter Payne.
Wally Gabler back to punt. High spiraling punt. It's his best of the day. Mark Morrison takes it inside his 30, and Morrison is bottled up as he gets to about the 32, and now we've got some pushing and shoving as feelings run a little hot between these two teams. Well, last week Queens had to win it in the brutal conditions of Lennoxville, but it is perfect inside. And the forecast calls for Payne, maybe Peter Payne. And Queens will scrimmage 1st and 10 from its own 32 after an excellent punt by Wally Gabler Jr. Elberg on the toss. Again, stretched outside, puts his head down, but he gets ridden out of bounds very quickly. And let's go down to Rod Smith.
Thank you, Gordon. Joining me now, Queens linebacker Mike Boone. Mike, it seems, as Jamie Bone was pointing out earlier, that their offensive line is not really concerning itself with the linebackers, and it's costing them.
Yeah, that seems to be true. They haven't been picking us up on our stunts, and it's really helped us out, causing pressure on the quarterback.
and it seems to have rattled Gabler, at least to this point.
Yeah, I think so. So let's hope it keeps up the rest of the game.
One thing you do have that is different from last year is points in the second half, and that must really help your momentum.
Yeah, it's a nice start. Let's just hope we can go for the next 40 minutes or however much longer we got. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
And the pass is complete over on the sideline. They rule him out of bounds now. Steve Jovanich looked to have possession, but the ruling is that he was out of bounds.
You only have to have 1 foot in bounds.
About 3 feet in bounds, but he was juggling the football a little bit.
Boy, I don't know. It looked like he didn't have control initially, but as everybody looks at it on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, Jovanich is looking at the replay, and he really won't like that call now.
No.
There's an injured player. It is Steve McKee, the outstanding inside linebacker for Guelph.
But they don't say the eye in the sky don't lie.
Yeah, well, it didn't there. Stay tuned at the conclusion of today's game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Sony. Steve McKee leaves under his own power, and that was a key play in the football game, Jamie, ruling Jovanich out of bounds.
And unlike professional football, they do show the replays here in college football on the large screen, so you can hear the fans' reaction.
A little pressure for Galloway, who gets a low driving kick away. DeGravio from the 40. He's dangerous on punt returns, but here he's driven up inside and doesn't get much as he stopped at the 44-yard line. Guelph has the ball back, but has a long way to go. Welcome back to doubleheader Saturday on TSN. Earlier today, you saw St. Mary's defeat the University of Calgary. That's one part of the equation. This is the other half as Guelph looks for answers on the sideline.
And I'll tell you what, you'd have to be Einstein to figure out what he's doing right there. So many lines going every which way, but
first and 10 from the 44, the fake to Popke. Gabler has time and throws it out there, but it is incomplete as he was looking for Hugh Drennan. And Drennan, who has just 1 reception in this postseason, couldn't make the catch.
You know, the Queens secondary is doing such a good job on the Guelph receivers downfield that Wally Gabler has to come off the people deep and tries to throw it short. Throws it just a little bit behind Hugh Drennan.
It's been a matter of execution by the looks of it so far, Jamie. The difference is that the Guelph offense just isn't executing like it has the last couple of weeks.
And a couple of mental errors as well. I think Wally Gabler throwing those interceptions just between Wally Gabler and Dave Irwin. They just can't seem to get on the same page.
Now on 2nd and 10. Queen shows blitz. Here it comes. Gabler quickly out to the flat. He has it complete out there to Bill McClay, and McClay lunges for what should be a first down. What a great effort that was.
Yeah, you know, you're not allowed to run picks in any kind of football in any league, but this is exactly what Guelph are trying to do here.
Check that was Dave Irwin.
They're trying to cross their receivers. They take McClay outside and they bring Irwin inside. You can see right there they was trying to get a block on Aaron Campbell, number 24, who ends up making the play.
Yeah, Irwin was the man who, well, threw a little interference. Let's be generous about it. It's a first down from the center field stripe for the Guelph Griffins. 8:45 to play in the 3rd quarter. And they go back to the ground. Here's Popke, and Popke has about 8 as he gets down to the 47. Rob Thurger makes the stop.
Now, you know, you take a look at this. Look how deep Gabler gives the ball to Popke in the backfield. Look at the penetration by Queens. You know, you think that, oh, they're going to get him in the backfield, but no, they don't, because they take themselves out of the play because they work upfield so much. Then Popke can use his vision and read and see where the seam is and get yardage.
After a gain of 8, it is 2nd and 2. The toss to Popke, bounces outside, and he'll have another first down as they mark him out right at the 45-yard line. Forced out by Max Turner.
This is the kind of situation Guelph wants to see itself in. 2nd down and short. Again, they pitch it out. You can see they pull with John Lever, the right guard, and a good job by the fullback, but who really is a tight end, Trevor Rosine. Offensive line for Guelph starting to get into this football game, starting to move some people from that Queens defensive line.
Another first down at the 45-yard line of Queens. Guelph is putting together an impressive drive here. But thus far, the best the Griffins have been able to manage, 2 single points. Gabler on the out and up. He got drilled as he threw the ball looking for Irwin, but Wally Gabler Jr. was pounded. And coming up on the play, I believe it was Jamie LEWIN, the defensive end, number 29.
Yeah, against Jamie LEWIN. You know, 3-step drop. You don't have this much time. The ball's got to be gone now. That's why they teach quarterbacks, when you give that pump fake, you don't pump fake with the whole arm. You just do it with the shoulder very quickly, and then you get rid of it.
Ooh, a little holding downfield, too. Chris McCormick was working over Dave Irwin. 2nd and 10 now from the 45-yard line. They fake the draw to Popke. Gabler's under pressure. And he is dropped. Eric Dell got in to put the pressure on, and it's another huge defensive play by the Queens Golden Gales. John Zulich was up to finish him off.
Now, you know what you've got a little bit of a mismatch here. You've got Jamie LEWIN, who's lined up as a defensive end, rushing in the quarterback. They're pulling their left guard. Stewart, number 61, he's got him, but Stewart's 254 pounds. LEWIN is just too quick for him. He gets in Wally Gabler's face. Gabler bails out, and then the rest of the crew come in and take him down.
So another scoring threat by Guelph is snuffed out, and Wally Gabler Jr. will punt for the 7th time today. And here is Morrison. Morrison steps upfield and gets up close to the 25-yard line. And Wally Gabler Jr. has almost as many punts as he has completions today. And what a job this unit has done, the Golden Gale defense.
Doug Hargrave said he was a bit concerned at halftime and how his defense was playing. Well, he has to be awful happy right now.
And both those sacks have come at critical times for the Golden Gale. Now 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line with 6:15 to play in the 3rd quarter. They fake to Elberg. Pendergast looks over the middle, but the pass goes incomplete. He was looking for Ed Kidd, who had a touchdown reception earlier in the football game. They're talking about how the defensive backs are playing Dave Irwin, and getting Wally Gabler and Dave Irwin on the same page would seem to be critical for Guelph. As we get in the late stages of the 3rd quarter, they give to the second back Elberg, and Elberg pulls his way up close to the 30-yard line.
Bert's a bit surprised so far, Gord, that he had not gotten the ball to Elberg other than him running the football. He was the leading receiver on the Golden Gales team this year as well. He's leading them in rushing. He's the kind of a guy that is a great open field runner. You like to get him the ball open so they can run screens to him or those kind of things. He can make a lot of things happen.
And so Guelph should again get good field position, but the question for the Griffins, what can they do with it? The snap is low to Galloway, who gets a low end-over-end punt away. It bounces at midfield. Taken by DeGravio. Gets away from the first wave and gets up to the 51-yard line. Larry Utek and the St. Mary's University Huskies will be here next week as St. Mary's makes it to the Vanier Cup for the 2nd time in 3 years, the 3rd time in 5. 23-11 was the score over at Calgary. Now the Huskies are watching Queens and Guelph to see who their opposition will be next week at the 1992 Vanier.
You know, we've talked about some great linebackers in this game. I tell you what, St. Mary's have 3 of the finest. Alex Iliopoulos in the middle, Dwayne Brasso outside, and of course Brian Johnson.
1st and 10 for the Guelph Griffins from their own 51-yard line. They fake to Popke. Gabler has time, and he finds Dave Irwin. Maybe that was what they were talking about on the sidelines, getting the matchup they wanted and then getting the ball to him.
Well, what they're trying to do is get one-on-one coverage. All the flow goes to the right. They fake that counter. They run bootleg out here, and then Irwin just turns it out. Big cushion, and you can see that Max Turner comes up and tags him unnecessarily, because once your knee is down, you're down in college football.
It's a first down inside Queens territory at the 48-yard line. 4.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Now they give to Popke. He gets away from a couple of arm tackles and tough running as he gets down to the 43-yard line. Rod Smith is patrolling the sidelines for us. Rod, what do you have?
Well, Gord, Guelph is glad to get the running game going, but as the clock winds down, they got to get the passing game going, and that was the offensive line's concern with their coach between series. They want to make sure that they can protect Gabler because the time is coming when he may start passing on just about every down.
There are 2 injured Queens Golden Gales. Mike Boone is one of them. Greg Brick is the other. The trainers came out to talk to Brick, and he must now leave the game, I believe. The referees are telling him he'll have to go out since he received the attention of the therapist. So 2 linebackers are down right now for Queens.
And this creates some big problems because they don't have anybody else listed at linebacker for them to come in. You can see Boone giving him the right shoulder. I'm not sure what his injury is, but when you take a look at it, Rob Thurger was the backup linebacker. He'd come in earlier for Peter Payne, but now you've got the other 2 starting linebackers, Greg Brick, who we're looking at right now, number 59, and Mike Boone. And they don't have anybody else listed at linebacker. I would imagine what they're going to have to do is maybe take a defensive tackle, maybe move him outside, you know, John Zulich or maybe Chris Minner, and then put Mark Johnson or Jamie Lewin back in those linebacking spots. You can see they're trying to figure it out on the sidelines as well.
See if they can't recruit one in the next 5 or 6 minutes.
Now, it looks like it might not be that serious. He's going off under his own right now, and Greg Brick coming up. They'll have to go out for at least 1 play.
And now checking into the football game is Rob Thurger. He'll take one of those positions.
And you know, Elberg's saying, hey, coach, I can play linebacker. Stick me in there.
He's done everything else for Queens. Why not?
Well, Peter Payne is back in the football game, along with Thurger. They've just gone with now 6 defensive backs.
Yeah, they've gone to a nickel package, as they call it. On 2nd and 4, Gabler swings it out to Popke. And Popke has the first down and a lot more. Looking for a block. Popke gets all the way down inside the 19-yard line. Finally forced out of bounds by Joel Dagnoni, but not before a gain of 25 yards. One of the biggest offensive plays of the game for Guelph.
And that situation gets Queens into a defense that they don't like really to play all that much. Then you see the screen. That's a nice run by Rob Popke. You know, we talked about them missing Kyle Walters. I'm not really sure how much they do miss him. This is a great run. Switches the ball effectively, gets down the field, gives the old straight arm to Joel Dagnoni, but Dagnoni just forces him out of bounds.
1st and 10 from the 19-yard line for the Guelph Griffins, who trail by 18. 3.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Popke across the 15, puts his head down. The ball's loose. The football is loose, and we'll wait for the official signal. I think Guelph got it back. Peter Payne was in to make the stop. And it is indeed Guelph football. What a break for the Griffins.
Now it is. You have to realize Popke has no point of attack here. He's just running the ball to the right. He gives Hugh Drennan, his tight end, a little bit of a push. Then the ball comes popping out of here. And it looks like it was Kevin Reed who came up with the fumble recovery for Guelph.
It's a first down. 1st and goal from the 9 for the Guelph Griffins. Their best field position of the day. Trying to take advantage of this battered Queens linebacking core. Here's Popke. He gets down across the 5 to about the 3. And now Doug Hargraves has to be concerned, not just about this drive, but the status of his defense. Riddled with injuries on 1 play.
You know, Guelph right now are starting to run towards the bubble. And what we mean by the bubble is where the linebackers are located. That time to the right side. They only had 1 defensive lineman there, and they were all linebackers.
On 2nd and goal from the 3.
Throw, defense!
Fumble. Gabler got away. Throws to the end zone. And out of bounds. Another break for Guelph. Gabler mishandled the snap and managed to get away to throw it out of bounds. Had he lost yards there, a touchdown would have been nearly impossible.
You see they have problems with the snap. You know, those are the kind of things that can't happen to you at this time of the year if you're going to be a successful football team. Gabler almost gets them out of trouble here by throwing the ball down the field, but it's out of bounds. But this is third down. They have to go for this. They have to get a touchdown on the board.
On 3rd and goal from the 3. Guelph trails by 18. 1:40 to play in the 3rd quarter. Their season could come down to this play. Popke, the lone man in the backfield. He has it. Popke stacked up with the line. He will not get in. Peter Payne up to help with the stop. And Guelph is stopped on 3rd and goal.
Now, we saw this Queens defense a week ago do a pretty good job against Bishops in this similar situation. You can see Mike Boone, who was out of the football game, scrapes across and makes the hit on Popke, stopping him dead in his tracks so he can't get into the end zone. Boom. What a great job there by Mike Boone.
Let's hear from Rod Smith.
Well, Gord, Mike Boone just a few moments ago was injured and off on the sidelines, and that surely could have caused some concern for the Queens Golden Gales, one of their best defensive players. As you can see, he is very healthy.
And so is Brad Elberg, who gets the carry. Tight operating room for the Queens Golden Gales, but they'll gladly take it as the defense turns away Guelph on 3rd and goal from the 3.
That's a huge goal line stand. I mean, if Guelph score at that time, they're back in this football game. They have some momentum. But Queens is taking that right away from them right now. And you can see Mike Boone, who came up with that great goal line stand.
The gain was 2. It is 2nd and 8. Elberg again has a first down. Room to run all the way up to the 20-yard line.
Now, did you see that cut? I mean, that is an incredible cut by Brad Elberg.
And he is down on the turf. Brad Elberg is hurt. And if you thought Hargraves was concerned before, you'll be able to hear a pin drop on the Queens sideline now.
Off tackle. Now watch this cut right here. Boom. I mean, that is so quick. This is just a great run by Elberg. It looks like he kind of caught it on his thigh. Leading with Paul Beresford. Good block, but then Elberg, all those backs have that great vision. The good ones, and he cuts it back inside when he sees that seam.
He might have landed on the football as well. Over 100 yards rushing already, and a touchdown for Brad Elberg. But right now, the coach who's winning is very concerned. Everybody on the Queens sidelines exhales simultaneously as Brad Elberg leaves under his own power. He should be all right. He got a first down just outside the 20-yard line. And now they give it to his replacement, Don Rorwick. And Rorwick has good yards inside, so as all these Queens ball carriers get good yards, an indication of the good job being done by the offensive line.
Yeah, when you take a look at when replacements come into this football game, you know, Don Rorwick this season carried the ball, see there, 159 yards for a 7.2-yard average, which is a very good average running the football.
He got 6 there at 2nd and 4. Here he comes again. Another first down. As he breaks into the Guelph backfield and gets to the 39-yard line. They're making it look very easy on the final play of the 3rd quarter. 20-2. Queens leads Guelph. 15 minutes to play, and Queens can go to the Vanier Cup. It's a long way back for the Guelph Griffins. Queens leads by 18, and when it comes time to present the game ball, the Golden Gales might just do it to the man who's standing by with our Rod Smith.
All right, thank you, Gordon. Joining me now, trainer Dave Ross. This must have been a concern to see the #1 player, Brad Elberg, go down. How is he?
Well, it's not too much of a concern because Brad doesn't get injured very often. He's a tough cookie out there. I think he's more tired after a run, and basically that's it. I think he's fine. I see no problem at all with Brad.
Should be back out next series?
He wanted to get out before that.
Go and play some defense. Thank you, Dave. Gord?
Loves football, doesn't he, David?
He loves it. I mean, we talked about this last week. We asked him, said, do you like the game? He goes, hey, I want to play, scout, coach, sleep, and breathe football until I die. There's a guy who likes to play football.
He's out of there right now as Queens opens the 4th quarter. Here's Rorwick. And it doesn't matter who they've been giving the ball to. The Queens Golden Gales are getting great yardage on first down. And what a huge advantage that is, Jamie, when you get yards on first down.
No question about that. When you get Queens into this situation where it's 2nd down and 5, I mean, that puts so much pressure on the defense because they don't know whether you're going to run the ball, whether you're going to throw it, so they can't really get into one posture or another. And, you know, it looks like Guelph's defense is starting to get a little bit tired. They've been out on the field quite a while.
Rorwick again. Bounces off a couple of tackles. He'll be stopped short of the first down. He'll be about 2 yards short. And Doug Hargraves will take no chances, send in the punt unit. But an outstanding job by the Queens offense to drive the ball from the 1 all the way up to the 46. That goal line stand by the Queens defense will loom large when this game is decided. Galloway back to punt. 13:50 to play in the 4th quarter. Taken by DeGravio at the 33. Puts his head down, gets away from one man, but can't get far. Rob Weir was up to make the initial contact and restrict DeGravio's gain to about 4. So Wally Gabler Jr. in the offense will go back to work after an impressive march last time in which they came up empty.
And, you know, it has to be a little bit disheartening for Guelph. I mean, you work so hard, you know, you get down there close to the goal line, you come out with no points whatsoever. Now they had to go for the touchdown down there. 3 points wasn't going to do it for them. So Wally Gabler Jr. now coming out trying to put some points on the board for his Guelph Griffins.
On first down, he comes up throwing, looking deep. A high fluttering ball. It's anyone's guess who will have it. Shane Doherty rips it away from the defender. Shane Doherty with an outstanding play to rip the ball away from the defensive back and get down to the 31-yard line. You talk about wanting the football, Jamie.
That's what you like to see in all receivers is aggressiveness, because this ball hangs up forever. This looks like a jump ball in basketball. Now you can see he's against James Patterson, 5'8". Now Shane Doherty is 6'2" tall. He's going to win that battle every time, but they come down with a football. What an effort by Shane Doherty.
You could call him Wobbly Gabler after that pass, which was a kind of like a punt, but the result is a first down. After a gain of 38 yards, 1st and 10 from the 31, the toss to Popke. Heads upfield and is forced out of bounds at the 26. They'll mark him out actually at the 27-yard line after a gain of about 4. Well, here they go again, getting close.
Again, you can see that Mark Johnson and Greg Brick have a bit of a stunt on. Brick has contained. A little bit of a late hit there by James Patterson.
And I want to bring this up at this point. Bernie Young and the crew have done one of the great jobs we've seen of officiating. I don't think we've had a flag in the second half. They've let the guys play, and they've done a heck of a job. On 2nd and 6. Gabler with a bullet. And it falls short as he was looking for the inside receiver, Kevin Reed. That ball was tipped at the line.
When you're rushing a defensive lineman, you want to keep your hands up high in the air, and you can see Eric Dell, number 65, manages to get his hand on the football.
So it's another gambling situation, this time on 3rd and 6. Down by 18, the field goal is of no use to Guelph. And they'll go gambling here. Popke, the lone back in the backfield. Now he moves up to the line, Gabler. Swinging it out for Popke, and it wasn't even close. Another big defensive stand by Queens as Guelph turns it over on down.
You know, Greg Brick was man-to-man on Bob Popke.
The numbers after 3. More net yards for Guelph than Queens. But the key plays have been on 3rd downs in this last 5-minute sequence. And they've turned them away on 3rd and goal from the 1, and they're on 3rd and 6. Now Queens has it 1st and 10 from its 26-yard line. And pulling off tackle, I believe that was Don Rorwick again. No, Elberg is back in the game. Brad Elberg is back in, and he has the carry. And a well-deserved break for the defensive unit led by Greg Brick. And there's another injured Queens Golden Gale. Now these injuries don't reflect so much on this football game, but a potential Vanier Cup appearance next week.
You know, Gord, just a minute ago you were talking about Greg Brick. He's another one of those players that is from outside of the province of Ontario playing in Queens, from Winnipeg. Of course, we have Paul Kozan as well and Brad Elberg. That's a guy that the running backs don't want to have out of the football game. Big Mark Robinson.
Attack. Family on three. Ready to score. 1, 2, 3, family.
They're going to attack someone's family? Is that what you're saying?
You got to like their attitude, though.
We want the full range of stuff. Hey, remember, Blue 69 is read screen. Yeah, away from tight end.
After a gain of a yard, it is 2nd and 9. Pendergast rolls out and looks deep, looking for Ed Kidd, but he had 3 Guelph defenders around him. There was no way he was going to get that ball.
Well, you know, I think we're going to start to see Guelph come out here now. I think they're going to have to come out and start with 11 minutes and 11 seconds left in this game. They cannot huddle up anymore. They've got to come out and start putting some drives together. They need to start moving the football because they have to have as many possessions as they can get in this next 11 minutes.
They need at least 3 possessions. They'll lean heavily on the defense in the 4th quarter, and this Guelph defense has performed pretty well today.
And Guelph's going for the block right here. They only have 1 man back.
Here they come. Galloway gets a low end-over-end punt away. DeGravio lets it bounce at midfield. Now scoops it up. No flag. And he gets down to about the 52-yard line before he's forced out of bounds. It is Queens leading 20-2 with 10:46 to play in the 4th quarter. Number 2 meets number 3 with a chance to be number 1 next week. Let's go to Rod Smith.
Thank you, Gord. And, well, we've been talking about what Guelph has to do down by 18 points with just 10 minutes remaining. There was a team meeting before the offense went on. 2 words that I were able to hear: no huddle. I'll be very interested to see if Guelph goes into a no huddle or at least a very hurry-up offense heading down the stretch.
Jamie, you mentioned it. Now, my question would be, if you haven't used it all year, can you be effective with it in the 4th quarter of a playoff game?
Yeah, I think you can, Gord, because each team has a 2-minute or a 3-minute offense that they use. Lightning, we've seen other teams use it as part of their base offense, such as Bishop's University. So these guys realize that time is their big enemy right now. They've got to score points in a hurry. They cannot waste time by getting back into the huddle.
On 1st and 10 from the Queens 52-yard line. Gabler throws it kind of sidearm, and the pass intended out there for the running back Ulrich Doherty, but he was bumped at the last second.
Well, you see, the reason there was no interference on that is because Max Turner can hold his area, and the running back ran into his area. See, right here, he's complaining of interference, but Max Turner can stay in that area and hold his area. He does not have to give that up to anybody.
Now 2nd down with 10 minutes to play. Gabler over the middle, has it complete. Kevin Reed. And that will be a 1st down for Guelph, and the Griffins go straight to the line of scrimmage.
Kevin Reed comes down with another reception inside. This is such a tough pass to throw and makes a great catch. Kevin Reed at a Saltfleet High School, the same school that produced Paul Masadi, playing with the Toronto Argonauts and Christian Masadi.
On 1st and 10 from the 39. Gabler swings it out, complete to Trevor Racine, and Racine, trying to fight his way to the sidelines, has a gain of about 5. And marking as a gain of 4 to 2nd and 6 as Guelph continues to work without a huddle. Gabler over the middle for Reed, and incomplete. A flag is down. A flag is down in the defensive backfield of Queens, and a Golden Gale is injured as well. And referee Bernie Young may forget where his microphone is. He hasn't used it much today. This might be against the Griffins for unnecessary roughness.
Unnecessary roughness. Queens, 61, first down.
They're calling it against Matt Zeroni, the defensive lineman. And this is a big penalty. It'll give Guelph a first down at about the 19-yard line. And the injured Queens Golden Gale continues to receive attention.
I think it is Matt Zeroni, the player who's just been penalized. 61.
Scouts.
And it is indeed Matt Zeroni. So he's calling for unnecessary roughness, and he's on the field hurt. Let's see that often. And here's a look.
Take a look at the right side of your screen. Now you see that, no, that's a penalty against Guelph. That's a post and cut, and that is illegal in football. You cannot do that.
Now, well, that's an unusual call. They called him for unnecessary roughness, but he was cut at the line of scrimmage. And as you mentioned, Jamie, that is an illegal play in football because it is a very dangerous play. You see Matt Zeroni leaving the football field.
First of all, it's illegal. I mean, he did not do anything to rough anybody. I mean, that is an illegal play. Players are ejected because of that kind of a play because you can seriously hurt somebody.
The only thing I can think of is maybe Zeroni did something after he was down, but I can't imagine that.
Boy, I tell you, that's...
First and 10 from the 19. Here's Racine. He puts his head down and gets inside the 10. Haven't heard much from Trevor Racine, who's a pretty good receiver out of the backfield.
Again, they
catch here.
Again, they try and get him short out into the flat. Queens seem to be giving them this right now. Again, they do not allow him to get turned up the field.
On 2nd and 6, they get it out to the flat to Reed. And Reed fights his way down to about the 1. Kevin Reed is suddenly the go-to guy for Guelph.
You know, this is a great offensive scheme when you're in man coverage. You have that crossing route. They take Reed from his inside receiving position, turn him outside. Now he, nice little move there to get up the field. Tries to get into the end zone, but it'll be first down on the 1.
First and goal from the 1. This drive has taken less than 2 minutes so far, and that's exactly what Guelph needed. Gabler to the end zone. Touchdown! Finally, with 8:31 to play in the 4th quarter, the Griffins have found the end zone. And Gabler might have been improvising there as he suddenly looked, saw a hole, and dove.
See, take it to the right. He sees that that's going to be there. I think before the snap of the football, there's a gap between the guard and center.
Now the question would be here, do you go for 2? They're going to have the 1-point convert here.
I think you just go for 1. That would still make you 9 down.
See, if you go for 2, you get 10 down. And the convert is good. It is 20-9. An 11-point lead for Queens with 8:30 to play. So finally, Wally and the gang find the end zone. And they didn't need much time to do it. We'll be back to the Churchill Bowl in a moment. It's now a 20-9 lead, and Matt Zeroni is getting his knee iced, and it doesn't look as if he will return to this football game after an unusual series of occurrences down at the 20-yard line. Zeroni was called for unnecessary roughness after he was the recipient of a cut block.
The only thing I can think, Gord, is when he came off the line, maybe he got his hand up underneath somebody's face mask, but I'll tell you what, you cannot post and cut anybody in football in any league.
Here's Elberg with the kickoff return from the 20. He's got room to run, and the man who took one all the way back for a touchdown last week is brought down to the 48. Rod?
This Griffins bench is rejuvenated. They were feeling pretty down, of course, being down 20-2, but those 7 points have made a huge difference. Shane Doherty, for one, said just one more, we're going to win this thing.
Well, not if Brad Elberg has anything to do about it. It was a 7-play, 52-yard drive. The no huddle means it took only 1:59 for Guelph to hit the end zone, and that was the key stat.
And you know, at this point in the football game, Queens wants to get a few first down and keep burning time off of that clock.
On first down, they're coming up throwing. Here's Pendergast looking over the middle. Complete. He's got it over there to the big tight end, Dan McCullough, and McCullough rumbles all the way down to the 15-yard line. So much for ground control. They go right to the air, and a huge play by McCullough. The gain is 46 yards.
I'll tell you what, this takes a lot of guts for Pendergast. I mean, they're playing aggressive, and this is a great read. Great read, looking to the right, and then coming back to his tight end across the middle. Dan McCullough does a nice job of cutting it up the field.
A first down at the Guelph 15-yard line. Now they go to the ground to Elberg. Elberg is tripped up quickly. A nice defensive play made by Hugh Tharby.
I'll tell you one thing, Queens are not content to sit on this lead.
How many times do you see a big guy like that with a 27.5-yard average per reception?
Not very often during the regular season. He had a 16-yard average, so.
Hey, the big guy can motor. The gain by Elberg was 2. It's 2nd and 8 from the 13-yard line. Elberg again. Doesn't get much, but he gets down to about the 11. This should be a chip shot field goal attempt for Galloway.
And that's why they were trying to run the ball to the left side so that Galloway would just have a straight-on shot.
Now the field goal is significant for Queens, but the lead would then be 14. So Guelph's position doesn't change much. The Griffins still need 2 possessions, but now they need 2 touchdowns, assuming Galloway makes his field goal. The attempt comes from the 17-yard line. High snap, and it is good. A 14-point lead for Queens with 6:55 to play. And now Guelph will scrimmage 1st and 10 from its own 35-yard line. We talked a moment ago about the chop block on Matt Zeroni. Now, he was called for unnecessary roughness on this play. Let's see what happened, Jamie.
Well, if you look just to the right, you see Matt Zeroni to the right, and your screen 62 hits him, and then 56 comes in underneath. That's Rob Westling and cuts him. Now, that is illegal. It's called a post and cut, and there's no room in football for that. A few weeks ago, a gentleman in the NFL got thrown out of a game for doing that.
The pass for Dave Irwin is too high. The coverage provided by James Patterson, who has a couple of interceptions in the game today. And there is Matt Zeroni now.
James Patterson on the coverage. Ball thrown a little bit high, but you can see Patterson right there.
Now 2nd and 10. 6:20 to play. Gabler has it complete out there to Kevin Reed, and Reed has a first down and more. Up close to midfield as he stops at the 52-yard line. We saw Shane Doherty rip a ball away from a defender earlier. Now we see Kevin Reed just put his head down, determined to get the first down.
And you know what? These guys should keep going back to that. They're crossing their inside-outside receiver, and Wally Gabler is picking the open man out. Always seems to be open outside because the defender is inside. He's chasing all the time. They should keep running this until Queens stop it.
Clock running at 6:05. The pass is complete to Irwin, and he got whacked by Joel Dagnoni, the safety. Dave Irwin got nailed, and he is hurt. No wonder. Mike Boone and Joel Dagnoni teamed up to smoke the Guelph receiver.
Now he makes the catch here inside. Now watch, he spins to the right. Spins to the right, and he turns upfield, and who's there but Boone, and then Dagnoni hits him right in the head.
Oof. Hard-hitting football. And Dave Irwin is peering out the ear hole of his helmet. And here's how it sounds when you get hit like that. Well, it's a little louder than that, but...
Give us your best imitation. Crunch, I'll tell you, that's what it sounds like.
And Dave Irwin remains down on the field. And they're measuring as well. He was close to the first down, but he stopped just inches short. But really, these measurements mean nothing now, because with 5:53 to play, Guelph will be gambling on every third down situation, and really they won't be running the ball to get a yard. They need to score quickly and get the ball back. Irwin is up, and here's the sound of the hit. Ouch. No thank you. Dave Irwin actually headed for the Queens sideline at first. He was then directed to his own bench. And as he gingerly makes his way off the field, Guelph, conserving precious seconds, goes right to the line, and as soon as play is blown back in, Wally Gabler Jr. will take the snap. And Gabler just goes straight ahead to get the first down. I don't think Queens was expecting that.
No, that's just a tap and go. That's just between the quarterback and the center. As soon as Wally Gabler puts his hand up underneath there, the center snaps the ball. There are no signals called at all.
Clock running at 5:45. Gabler over the middle, and it is incomplete to Kevin Reed. Rod Smith, what do you have for us?
Well, Gord, I'm joined by a guy that's not really going anywhere right now, Matt Zeroni. First of all, how bad is the knee?
Right now they're saying it's probably torn, and so that means I'm out for the year.
It looked like a dirty block in the part of Guelph.
It was a very illegal play. The first guy stood me up, and we were going one-on-one, and the second guy chopped me low, right at the knee, number 56, and I'm sure something will be done about it. It was blatantly obvious. It's illegal, and that's it, and that's all there is to it, and I'm sure something will be done about it. I really hope so, because it ended my season.
Thanks, Matt. Gord?
What can you say to that?
Tell you what, he's got a right to be mad. Not only does it end his season, but he's been physically injured seriously. And if it's torn knee ligaments, he's going to have surgery.
Last pass was complete to Racine for a first down. Patterson jumped in front of that ball and almost had his third interception of the game. How do you console this guy? Plays his heart out and comes up a game short through no fault of his own. 2nd and 10 now from the 28-yard line. Gabler on a timing pattern now throws it up to the end zone. He's looking for Irwin. Touchdown, Guelph! Don't go anywhere. The Griffins are right back in it. Wally Gabler with the guts of a burglar stands up, throws it up, and Dave Irwin has the touchdown reception.
The patience that Gabler shows here is truly outstanding, realizing he's not there waiting to the last moment. And the key to this is he throws the ball so high. See, it just drops right in there. The coverage by McCormick was pretty good, but the ball falls right out of the sky, straight down. And Dave Irwin comes up with a great catch.
Confer pulls Guelph within a touchdown. 23-16. We got a great finish coming up.
Take a look at Dave Irwin's eyes. The ball is in the air, and that's exactly when it has to be thrown. You know, there's an old adage, when he's even, he's leaving, and Dave Irwin was leaving right there and coming down with a big catch. Look how that ball falls right out of the sky. You know, Dagnoni is there, but comes in underneath a little bit shallow. And Dave Irwin, who had his bell rung just a few minutes ago by Joel Dagnoni, gets the big payback.
He may be seeing double, but he caught the right ball anyway. And it's now a 7-point lead. We saw Guelph go to overtime 2 weeks ago against Toronto. Will we see it again? And I'll say it one more time. How much is Queens thinking about what happened to them last year under eerily similar circumstances? Elberg mishandles the ball and now falls on it at the 8.
Now, what were Queens doing here? It looks like they were getting ready for the onside kick. I don't think anybody in this stadium thought there was going to be an onside kick. 4:58 left to go in the game. There's plenty of time to kick the ball down the field and get back. Elberg can't find the handle, but wisely gets back to it and scoops it in. But Queens are starting now on their own 8.5-yard line.
Now, if the Guelph defense comes up with a good stand, you can almost guarantee they'll start their next possession inside Queens territory. And poor Doug Hargraves. It's like watching a bad movie twice.
Yeah, it's nail-biting time for Doug right now as he tries to force a smile.
1st and 10 from the 8. Elberg. No running room this time. Jumping into the play, Mike O'Shea, Steve McKee, and Rob McRae. Wally Gabler Jr. directs a 6-play, 75-yard drive, and again, it takes just 2.5 minutes. Dave Irwin hauls it in from 23 yards out to bring us where we are now. 4:15 to play. Queens leading 23-16.
And you know, Tim Pendergast, I'm sure that he's going to take it on his own shoulders right now to try and make something happen.
Gain was 2 at 2nd and 8. Pendergast will throw. Time. And it is incomplete. Looking there for Rob Weir. And the pass falls incomplete.
Now this is a case where Rob Weir goes down and curls. Pendergast thinks he's just going to hook. You see, he goes by the football. Pendergast wanted Weir to go down and stop, turn around, and work back to him, not across the field.
And now Jamie Galloway will punt from his own end zone. And for those of you who are watching last year, are they going to give up the safety here?
No, I don't think so.
They're going to call timeout and talk it over, I believe.
He's trying to.
And the player ran on the field to call timeout. Bursting onto the field was Jamie LEWIN. And now timeout has been called. Can you do that? Can you send the player on the field to call timeout?
I didn't think you could once the gate was up, but I guess they got away with one here. Now, I don't think there's any way in the world that Queens are going to give up 2 points here. I think they just want to make sure they talk it over, make sure everybody understands their assignment.
As I started to mention a moment ago, for those of you who were watching last year, you'll remember well, especially if you're a Queens fan, the snap that went over Jamie Galloway's head. It was this very end zone. And I'm sure Queens would dearly love to put those memories to rest, but right now, they're a living ghost. For Guelph. The snap to Galloway is good, and he gets a low end-over-end punt away. And falling down is Heron Tate. The ball bounces all the way into Guelph territory at the 45 to Gravio. Dragged down immediately. An enormous play as Heron Tate fell on the turf. Come on now! And the result is a first down at the 38-yard line.
And you know, Gord, you're talking a difference here, probably about 40 yards if he catches this on the fly. It bounces now back 25 yards. If he had taken it in the air, he might have got upfield maybe 10 yards because it was a low punt.
It's a difference of 27 yards. 1st and 10 from the 38, 3:20 to play. Guelph has the ball, and the pass is over the head of Trevor Racine. Here's another look, Jamie. He just stumbled.
Yeah, he just kind of catches his feet on the turf. And now that ball takes a Queens bounce to Gravio. But Rob Weir comes down and makes a great play to stop any kind of Guelph return.
Now still the 38-yard line is lots of room. Now there's a flag down, and I believe procedure will be the call against Guelph. A danger of the no huddle. Bernie Young and the boys will talk it over, and he'll make the call.
Legal procedure. Guelph, 56, 5-yard penalty, second down over.
Rob Wessling is the man called.
Now when you run your lightning offense, Gord, usually it's on the first sound after the play has been called. That might have been a mix-up there last play.
2nd and 15. Haven't seen much of Shane Doherty lately. Makes the Popke. Gabler will try to run. Now he throws it up. And it is almost picked off on the sideline. Up to make the play is Aaron Campbell. It'll be 3rd and 15.
This Aaron Campbell was the 7th DB until Brad Dent was hurt a week ago, and he's coming up with some pretty key plays for Queens last weekend as well as in this football game.
And Dan McNally sends the punting unit out onto the field. That, of course, includes his quarterback, Wally Gabler.
And, you know, that's a good decision by Dan McNally. He realized with 2:51, this last 3 minutes now can take a long time. If they can get Queens deep, stop them, get the ball back, they'll have time enough to tie this game up.
Boy, the 27-yard difference on that punt return is huge here. Bernie Young wants to talk it over. We may have a clock problem here. .251 to play. Dan McNally's team appeared out of it for much of the football game, to be quite honest with you.
But, you know, the kind of attack that he has in that Guelph offense, that throwing the ball down the field, you're really never out of it. He's shown so far today.
So Gabler is back in punt formation. Would you dare fake one here? High snap, and he punts it away. A low spiraling kick. Taken there by Steve Jovic. A flag is down. It may be an illegal block against Queens.
Number 8, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Patterson is called for holding. So move it back. It'll be a first down from the 37.
With number 8 in the left of your screen in the corner. Oh, he holds Bill McClay grabs him by the scruff of the neck.
Now the 10 yards, of course, field position is all important at this stage. First and 10 from the 37, 2:33 to play. The toss to Elberg. Gets away from the early penetration, but doesn't get much. An outstanding defensive play is turned in by Chuck Osman, who has been tracking down Brad Elberg all day.
You know, their secondary people, Guelph secondary people, do a great job of filling on the run. You can see that he cuts back underneath Steve McKee, the linebacker, and the secondary people fill, and that's a great job by Charles Asman.
Game was 3 and a 2nd and 7. The fake to Elberg. Pendergast to the sidelines. Jovic is wide open and has the first down at the 49-yard line. Big first down for Queens with 2:01 to play.
This is the kind of game they wanted out of Tim Pendergast. What he's been known for. This is a great throw on the run. And Jovic just turns around and makes sure the catch and gets out of bounds.
I guess the only thing that could have been a little better would have made the play perfect because it had been able to stay in bounds. But you're asking for a lot on a catch like that at the sideline. First and 10 from the 49, 2:01 to play. They go back to the ground to Elberg, who fights his way for about 3. He runs into a wall of tacklers. Among them, Steve McKee, the linebacker. Dan McNally wants timeout. Now there's an injured player for Queens. Dan McCullough is down. That might have been a wasted timeout. He had no way of knowing. He wouldn't have been able to see that McCullough was down. 1:57 to play in the 4th quarter. It's a 7-point lead for Queens. Just yet. 1:57 to play, and they're talking it over on the Guelph sideline.
I started to it was run, so I just left it, and I came out, it wasn't run, I was just trying to blitz.
Yeah. Underneath covers and do something. Doesn't matter.
It's going to run fake, and I'm thinking, it's this point of the game, it's done.
Peter's got a really anchor force. He's got to get upfield on base number 1.
Okay.
If he goes split like that, he's got to get up and downfield, right?
Mullins, the defensive coordinator for Queens, talking, but you saw that Dan McNally was talking to Steve McKee, linebacker, talking about in that last pass play that Guelph are starting to gamble here a little bit. This is uncharacteristic of them, but given the situation in the football game, they got to start to bring people and get them into Tim Pendergast's face.
2nd and 7. Elberg turns back inside, and he will not be close to the first down. Elberg tried to bounce it back inside, but couldn't get much. As a nice job defensively is turned in by linebacker Darrell Boyd. So Guelph will get the ball back. In what kind of field position? Jamie Galloway is in to punt. If he achieves his 40-yard average, Guelph will get it back at about the 25. Galloway's done the job. And his last punt was aided when Aaron Tate slipped and fell. Here's DeGravio from the 20. DeGravio fights his way up across the 35 and close to the 40-yard line. And the Guelph Griffins will begin from their own 37-yard line. I thought there might have been a clip right when DeGravio caught the ball. It looked like Rob Weir, number 12, was clipped.
Yeah, they got away with a lucky one there. He was pushed from behind.
1:19 to play in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. 73 yards to the end zone. And now I believe we have a timeout on the Queens sideline.
Queens right now, they are going to be talking things over with their defensive coordinator Bob Mullins to make absolutely sure everybody knows what's going on. They have another defensive back into the football game. That's Jeff Yaw.
It's funny, that's twice the Queens has called timeout right after a punt. You'd think they would have talked things over on the sidelines. There hasn't been an offensive play run. What is there to adjust to unless it's the personnel they see in the game?
Unless, yeah, it might be the case, Gordon, or just wanting to reinforce exactly what they want to do on defense.
They may need that timeout later. Should there be overtime, it will be 2 10-minute halves. It's like a brand new game with 2 new halves. We saw it 2 weeks ago in the OUAA semifinal game. Only once before has the Churchill Bowl gone to overtime. First and 10 from the 37. They give to Popke. And Popke gets to about the 44-yard line. Kind of hard to figure that, Jim.
Well, they're trying to run something, figuring that Queens is in their pass posture defense right now. They're playing man underneath Queens. They have 2 deep in their secondary.
Gabler looking for it all now. He's got 2 receivers down. They're almost intercepted, and now a flag is down. Oh, boy. Let's see what this call is all about. This could be the game right here.
Well, now remember, it's only a 15-yard penalty. So it's not on where the infraction took place.
Still, 15 yards is enormous, and Guelph is indicating the call is against Queens.
Forward pass interference. Queens number 8. 15-yard penalty.
Oh, my. First down at the 51.
Boy, I tell you what, I think that's, you know, the ball has been touched by the time that James Patterson touches Irwin. Maybe they're calling for face guarding, but the ball's touched now. Now he's hit.
First and 10 from the 51. Gabler to throw. Goes to the near side, and it is complete over there to Dave Irwin. 57 to play now in the 4th quarter. The last time this game went to overtime, 1970. The University of Manitoba beats Queens in the overtime of the Churchill Bowl. Is Queens staring extra time in the face again? First down, 51 seconds. Gabler under pressure. Now gets to the sideline and throws it away. No flag. No flag. He clearly threw that away.
That is incredible. You know, Reg Balatanuzzi standing beside Dan McNally just kind of shrugs his shoulders like, wow. You know, he's under wraps right now. He just tries to throw the ball underhanded to get rid of it.
And the Queens fans saw it on the Jumbotron. They can't believe it, and neither can Doug Hargraves. Second down from the 37, 45 to go in the fourth quarter. Gabler has it picked off. It's intercepted. Aaron Campbell to the 30, the 20, dragged out at the 8-yard line, but this game is over. A 66-yard return. The Guelph Griffin threw it out to the flat. Aaron Campbell picked it up, took it 66 yards. There will be no overtime. There will be no comeback. The Queens Golden Gales are going to the Vanier Cup.
And I want to ask Doug Hargraves, why is this guy your 7th defensive back, Aaron Campbell? Game last week, a key interception in that football game against Bishops. Now he comes up with the biggest one this year. Steps in front, one-handed, makes a secure catch, and now it's a foot race. Aaron Campbell out of Crestwood Secondary School in Peterborough. Rob Hopke hauls him out of bounds.
They've had to overcome history, a tough football team, and dare we say some bad officiating. But the Golden Gales, thanks to Aaron Campbell, have the ball with 33 seconds to play, and barring something absolutely incredible, the Queens Golden Gales will be back here next week. First and goal from the 8. Brad Elberg. All he wants to do right now is just stay in bounds. Aaron Campbell, the interception. And on the other side, Wally Gabler did it all year long. And that's a pass he won't soon forget. What an outstanding year that young guy has had. The clock is running at 15 seconds. There will be one more play. Let's go to Rod Smith.
Thank you, Gord. Joined now by Aaron Campbell. Aaron, it looked like you knew that one was coming, didn't you?
Well, they've been running outs all day. Trying to play tighter on them than before because we're playing a little looser. But this game today, full team effort. Offense came forth and defense stepped up. Gales, we're going to the Vanier. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
And the Guelph Griffins will come up a game short. Aaron Campbell missed all of last season after suffering a training camp injury. He returned this year, and his interception return is the difference. The clock is down to 0, and they won't even have to snap it.
Now they've got to snap it one more time to make it official.
I believe they called delay of game against Guelph. This is merely a formality. There is no time left on the clock, but they'll want to make absolutely sure. Wally Gabler Jr.'s dad played for 3 teams in the CFL.
And I'll tell you what, he's got nothing to hang his head for. He's quite a competitor. And he gave it his all this afternoon.
If not for him, Guelph might not even have made the playoffs.
You know, you look at the overtime game against Toronto, he engineered a drive in the last couple of minutes.
They haven't been to the Vanier Cup since the early 80s. They haven't won it since the late 70s. Queens will get its chance next week against the St. Mary's Huskies. Pendergast will take the snap and simply fall on the football. And the Queens Golden Gales have won the Churchill Bowl. Queens is heading to the Vanier Cup. They didn't make it easy on the coach. Guelph put up a heck of a fight. But the Churchill Bowl is heading to Kingston. And that means the Golden Gales are coming here next week. ghost of Churchill's past has been buried finally by Queens. What congratulations he deserves. They hadn't met since 1974, but this was one for the ages. You just knew he was going to come down to the final moments, and appropriately enough, another big play was Jamie Galloway with the punt from the end zone.
And I really think today the difference for Queens offensively was Tim Pendergast finally managing to put a game together this year that he can, I'm sure, feel very proud of, getting back into that groove. But, you know, you look at Guelph, you know, they had a great year this year. They didn't make the playoffs the last 2 seasons. This year they managed to make it into the playoffs. Beat U of T in a very exciting overtime game. Knocked off Western last week in a big game. Just 7 points away from tying this one up. Queens Golden Gales started this season off not on a very good note, losing the second game of the year to Bishops by a big score. Bishops walloped them, managing to get into the playoffs and avenge that loss last week in the Dunsmore Cup game.
They lost only 1 game all season. It was early on in the regular season to Bishops. The Golden Gales avenged that last week, and today avenged the loss they suffered last season in the Churchill Bowl. Final score, 23-16. The season is over for Guelph, but the Queens Golden Gales are going to the Vanier Cup. Back with more from the Churchill Bowl in a moment. Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you today by Sony.
With 45 seconds remaining in the game, and it looked like Guelph were driving down the field trying to tie this game up. Wally Gabler's pass is tipped by defensive back Aaron Campbell of Queens. Campbell makes the interception and races 66 yards to put this game out of reach for the Queens Golden Gales.
And that is the TSN Turning Point. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Sony. Sony Trinitron XBR Squared. It will change the way you feel about everything you see. Defense does it for Queens, and one of the key players on that defense is with our Rod Smith.
Thank you very much, Gord. I'm with the MVP of the game, James Patterson, defensive back with the Queens Golden Gale. A couple of big interceptions. In your wildest dreams, did you know you had a game plan like this?
Not even close, not even close. I couldn't even have thought that up if you'd have given me 2 months. No way. It was great.
The talk before this game was a Brad Elberg for Queens against Wally Gabler for Guelph, but it really was a defensive game, a Queens defensive game.
They really threw the ball up a lot, and, well, hey, you know, we're just there. It's the same thing at Bishops last weekend, real aerial team.
Last year, the Golden Gales blew a lead. There's no other way to put it. Was there a fear that they were going to blow it again?
Well, it's in the back of your mind, but we had it all the way. We were just making it interesting.
You like playing here?
Oh, yeah, it's great. I'm from Toronto, so coming back home, you know, it's great.
Well, I ask you because you're coming back again next week. Must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I get to see my parents again. It's great.
Okay, we're going to take a look at one of your interceptions. If you could look at the monitor there and just tell us about it here.
Well, I knew he was going to look away and then come back, and I just broke. I think he went deep on me, and I don't know where he threw it or whatever, but the ball was there. This big guy gives me a big lick at the end here, too.
What was your game plan to face Wally Gabler? What did you think you had to do?
Well, we knew we had to blitz him a lot and get him scrambling and throw up the ball, which he does. And we're just hoping to get a lot of interceptions. I mean, we had 30 interceptions this year, so just a couple more.
How about a word on the St. Mary's Huskies?
Oh, I haven't even thought about that.
I guess not. Thanks a lot. Congratulations, James. James Patterson, the most valuable player for the Queens Golden Gales. Certainly defense was the story today. Gort?
All right, thanks very much, Rod. And as the player of the game, Gio will donate $500 to James Patterson's institution, the Queens University, which has defeated Guelph 23-16. Jamie, I guess it had to come down to this way for Queens to finally put away all the whispers of last year.
Yeah, I think it's a sign of their defense. You know, you take a look at James Patterson, for example, 1 interception throughout the regular season, Now in playoffs, he already has 3, 2 here today. Then you take a look at Aaron Campbell. I mean, he's the 7th defensive back in their scheme of things. An injury to Brad Dent last week, he moves up to number 6, and he comes in and makes the great play for them. So they have all these guys making great plays for them in the playoffs.
How do you think they match up against St. Mary's?
I'll tell you what, that's going to be a great game because you've got 2 great defenses. St. Mary's, of course, are those great linebackers. Queens, of course, are their great linebackers in secondary. I'll tell you what, both offensive coordinators this week are going to have their hands full trying to prepare for these 2 defenses.
You mentioned about Brad Elberg wants to eat, sleep, think, coach, and play football till the day he dies. Well, Brad will have to wait at least another week to take a rest anyways with our Rod Smith.
All right, thank you, Gord. Brad, even after you got hurt, I remember you said, it doesn't matter, you just want to go back in next series, even if it's defense. You just love this game, don't you?
Yeah, it's a blast. It's a lot more fun when you win like we did today, but that was just got a shot. It was no big deal, so I wasn't really hurt.
And it must be a lot more fun when you got that kind of support from a defense as well. I mean, when everyone talks about Queens, they talk about you, but that defense was outstanding.
Well, I think the defense has always been the heart and soul of our team. And I think it was really fitting that a defensive player got the player of the game award today. I mean, they were great. They give us, you know, we can be conservative. We don't have to go out on a limb and do too many crazy things and kill ourselves. So, yeah, all the credit to defense. They're our team.
What would you say is the big turning point in this game? Really, that third quarter try when they went to 3rd and goal and they couldn't punch it in?
Yeah, that was huge. And then I think maybe the knockout blow was Aaron Campbell's interception right at the end of the game. So both defensive plays, once again, very fitting.
Brad, let's take a look at your touchdown in the 1st quarter after the interception. Just describe it for me.
All right, well, we called the toss right. I mean, everybody did a great job putting some people on the ground play side, and after that, it's just a foot race. Beat the guy to the corner. It's pretty easy when it happens like that.
Was their defense about as tough as you thought it would be?
Well, I expected them to be tough, and they were very tough. I mean, we didn't have much success moving the ball today, so, yeah, they were a great defense. They did a good job.
I was talking to James about this. Last year, Queens, for lack of a better word, choked in the 2nd half. Were you worried the same thing was going to happen today?
What happened in the 2nd half last year? I don't remember. I blocked that out. Don't talk about it. It's done. So.
Well, I'm sure you're hoping for big memories not only of today, but of next week. Good luck in the Vanier Cup.
Right. Thank you very much.
Brad Elberg, number 1 in more ways than one for the Queens Golden Gales, who had another very good day, as did the Queens defense in this victory. Gord?
A kid from the Queen City of Regina stars for Queens today, and intensity doesn't even begin to describe this.
Yeah, and first of all, I like his convenient memory loss. Doesn't remember what happened last season. Well, Brad, I know what happened, but it didn't happen today. You're right, Gord, a very intense player. You know, and Doug Hargraves was recruiting him at Tom Collegiate in Regina. He said that his high school coach said he wasn't that intense of a football player. He said that was one of his concerns about him, and Doug Hargraves said, boy, if he's not intense, I want to see the rest of the other 23 guys playing on your football team. So.
Well, he got out there and got the job done today. 116 yards rushing and a touchdown. And I guess now with Queens, the question you ask is, have they put it all behind them? And would they be listed as the favorite perhaps in the Vanier next week?
I don't know. No, I think St. Mary's would be listed. They're number 1 right now, undefeated, have an unblemished record. They would have to be the number 1 ranked team coming into this game. I think the only advantage that Queens might have is playing back-to-back weeks here in the Vanier Cup. But let's not forget, a lot of St. Mary's players played in this building back in 1990 against the Saskatchewan Huskies, a game in which it looked like they were going to win it right at the last moment, but defensive play, Chris Flynn fumbled the ball. I'm sure they have some memories of that. So this will be actually a great game because both teams are experienced playing in this building.
You talk about great storylines. How about the Vanier Cup next week? You got St. Mary's, a university which has been to the Vanier Cup so many times and has come up too short. And you've got Queens, which does have one of the best football programs in the country, but hasn't won the Vanier since 1978.
Well, you know, the history of the Vanier Cup the past number of years is the champion has to go through the Atlantic Conference. Everybody kind of thinks the AUAA, since they're out on the East Coast, only 4 teams, they play each other so many times that it might not be that good of a conference. Saskatchewan found out last year, Calgary found out today that the Vanier Cup champion since 1987 has to go through the Atlantic Bowl or the AUAA, and Queens, if they hope to win it, have to go through St. Mary's.
All right, well, his brother, Jamie Pendergast, was a member of the last Queens team that went to the Vanier. Tim Pendergast is now standing by with our Rod Smith.
Yeah, Jamie Pendergast got to play in a Vanier Cup, I believe. Your older brother back in 1983 against the Calgary Dinosaurs. You won't be facing the Dinosaurs, but I'm sure you're just as glad to get in this thing.
Oh, very glad, especially after how close we got last year and didn't get there. This is a great feeling.
When they closed the gap to 7 points, how concerned were you?
My heart's still beating pretty quick. The defense played really tough, though. I mean, the defense was so close to picking off so many balls that you knew it was going to come through eventually, and then eventually did, which was great, but it was nail-biting for sure.
Yeah. It seemed like there was a resolve on the part of the offense. The defense had done so well all game, as the offense had, but once Guelph was able to score a couple of touchdowns, did you guys have a resolve to, control the ball, work it back downfield, and take some of the pressure off the defense?
Well, we got a little conservative there. I don't know if that's because that's our game or because the score, but I think the two biggest drives were when we stopped them on the goal line, and then we marched about the 40. That was a huge drive, and then after they scored, we got the field goal. That was another good drive. So I think we opened it up a bit in those situations. Other than that, they did a great job shutting us down.
What does it mean to you to go to a Vanier Cup?
I don't really know right now. I'm still numb for that ending. I mean, it's going to take a while before it really sets in, but it was really nice to see Paul Beresford crying after the game. That meant a lot to me, especially after the game last year.
We've got a touchdown pass of yours. Just take a look at the monitor here and describe it for me.
Well, we're rolling out, and they were so concerned with stopping Brad. We get outside fine. Eddie runs a corner route, and the corner jumped on the out, and Eddie's wide open, and he made a great catch because that ball, I thought, overthrew him. He got in the end zone.
And there's your reaction.
I was really happy. It's been a while since I threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah, I bet you were. You were Vanier Cup bound against the St. Mary's Huskies. And a footnote to what we were talking about your older brother, Jim. Jim and the Golden Gales didn't win the Vanier Cup that year. That's the part you'd like to change.
That's right. It'd be great if we could.
Congratulations,
Thank
Tim.
you very much.
Tim Pendergast, quarterback for the Queens Golden Gales. Gord?
All right, one of the things we can talk about in terms of overcoming obstacles is what happened today to Queens in terms of the officiating. They got some very bizarre calls late in the game. There was a pass interference call that gave them a first down deep inside. Guelph gave Guelph a first down deep inside Queens territory. And there was an earlier unnecessary roughness call against Matt Zeroni when he was cut blocked, and his knee is now, we understand, has torn ligaments, and his season is over.
You know, it's such a sad thing. Not only do you have to replace Matt Zeroni, now let's take a look at it right here. You'll watch the right guard hits him up high, and then the right tackle comes in and cuts him. Now that is illegal. Any way you cut that in any league, minor football right up to the Canadian Football League, you cannot do that. That's called a post and cut. Once a defensive lineman has somebody blocking him up high, nobody can come in and take his legs out from him. And you can see that he hurts his left knee, torn knee ligaments, probably the lateral ligaments on the inside of his knee. That's gone. And, you know, Matt, not only is he gone for the game next week, but, I mean, if that's surgical, then he's going to be a long road of rehabilitation ahead of him, and nobody likes to see that.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate end to a very well-played football game, but there were some unusual calls. Zeroni, as we mentioned, was called for unnecessary roughness on the play. It gave Guelph a first down, and they later went on to score.
Yeah, that was the big puzzle there. How did Queens become penalized or get penalized in that play? So, I don't know, a lot of strange things were happening at the end of the football game.
All right, Queens overcomes a number of unusual things, but the usual is the Vanier Cup, and that's where Queens will be next week after winning the Churchill Bowl today. We're back to C.I.A.U in a moment.
Final score once again, 23-16 Queens over top of Guelph, the 1992 Churchill Bowl. And looking back to another great game this afternoon, it was St. Mary's managing to come up with a 23-11 victory over top of Calgary to advance on to the 1992 Vanier Cup, which you can see 1 week from today here on TSN. Interesting to think, certainly, in terms of St. Mary's when you talk about how they're going to perform at the Vanier Cup. In the past, a team built around Chris Flynn, a very offensively oriented team. You can see that game, of course, 1 week from today on TSN, the Vanier Cup. Whenever they got to the big game like the Vanier Cup, the criticism was the offense was the horse that pulled the team, and when they ran into a strong defense, perhaps a stronger defense than they would run into in the Atlantic Conference, it was like hitting a brick wall. That was a wall they were never able to get by. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform 1 week from today against Queens. Final score once again in the Churchill Bowl, it was Queens coming up with the victory, 23-16 over Guelph, and St. Mary's over Calgary, 23-11. This game brought to you by Geo. Get to know Geo at a Chevy Geo dealer near you. And by Pepsi. Gotta have it.